Hello, welcome viewers. I'm RX Oliver. These are my friends. You'll see some old and some new faces tonight. We're playing Cosmic Dark. The scenario is named Extraction. It was written by the wonderfully handsome, kind and benevolent Mr. Graham Walmsley. Who I'm going to get to introduce in a second. Tonight I've got some amazing people playing with me, and I'm going to go clockwise from top right. So, familiar face if you watch me play RPGs, Mr. aka some old pirate. Mark, say hello everybody, give yourself a quick introduction if you would, mate.
A quick introduction. Hello everybody. Yeah, I normally play on a different channel. I took a wrong turn somewhere and I've ended up here. It's nice to meet you all.
Lovely. Below Mark we've got Mr. Chris Kidd.
I'm Chris Kidd. You can find me on all of the social medias just by searching my name. I'm a nerdy fitness coach, so if you like Dragon Ball Z or Star Wars and you want to find out more about fitness, I'm your guy.
And below me on screen we've got the wonderful Brutally Honest. Say hello, Bru.
Hello, I'm Brutally Honest. I do co-working streams on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where you get to watch my life break down in real time. So, love playing with these guys, and super excited for today's game.
And then I am RX Oliver. You all know me. Shout out to me. I'm the producer of the videos and the organizer of the games. We do all the fun stuff. Looking forward to this one tonight. It should be a special one. And just before we get into it, I get to introduce another new face to the channel, and I'm very excited to bring you, like I said, the Mr. Handsome, Mr. Nice, Mr. Wonderful, Benevolent, Graham Walmsley. Graham, say hello to my audience.
Hi, I'm Graham. We've only been talking for half an hour. You don't know if I'm nice yet. See if you still think I'm nice in 3 hours, and then we can, yeah. I'm Graham. I wrote Cthulhu Dark. I've written lots of other weird little games, which if you Google me, you can find. My new thing is Cosmic Dark, which is a game of weird space horror. If we're plugging things, then I've got a Patreon, so patreon.com/Graham, and yeah, please do give me money. So, yeah. Are you pointing down because you're going to put the
In the
you're
description
going to put
on
this on the
YouTube,
stream?
mate. Yes,
Nice.
yes.
Love it.
Well, Graham, it's the floor is yours. I believe we're gonna make characters as we go.
Yeah, we are. So I mean, Cosmic Dark. We're not going to sort of spend half an hour talking about our characters. We're going to leap straight in, and start playing, and then we're going to sort of flesh out the characters as we go. And if that doesn't make sense in your heads now, it makes sense in mine. So we'll work it out as we go. Are you guys ready?
Always ready, mate.
Cool.
Yep.
You're on a shuttle, the five of you, and you're descending to the surface of an asteroid. And above you, you can see this vast transport ship. It's called the Exchange, and it's the ship that brought you here. And as you descend, you can see the asteroid beneath you, and it's this strange glowing asteroid. It's glowing with this violet light. And you can hear a voice in your communicators, and it says, "This is the extractor transport ship. You're descending to the surface of C-151. Medical officer, please acknowledge."
Medical officer here.
Thank you, medical officer. How's it looking down there?
It looks bright.
It's a pristine asteroid, medical officer. I'm sure it'll be profitable for us. Mining engineer, please acknowledge. Mining engineer, come in.
Acknowledging.
You all right, mining engineer?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Geologist, please acknowledge.
Geologist here acknowledging.
Thank you, geologist. And comms officer, please acknowledge.
Comms officer reporting for duty, sir. Over.
Thank you, associates. We have a beautiful, pristine asteroid for you to excavate. No signs of previous mining. You have all the equipment you need, and you're going to step out on the surface shortly. Good luck. We'll be back for you in a year. And what we're going to do now is we're going to flash back in time and tell the stories of how your characters grew up together and arrived here, and then we're going to play through your story on the asteroid. So there you go. Thank you so much for playing today. This is Cosmic Dark. This is my game of weird space horror. I mean, just to say before we start, I mean, one thing I always say is that, you know, anyone's welcome to drop out at any time. Oliver, I don't know how that affects you, but you know, if someone is genuinely having a problem or anything, let me know and we can carry on with.
You know, they're all chained to their desks, mate. They can't leave.
Right, good. Yeah. Okay. So I can't think of a witty reply to that. I feel I should have one lined up, but I don't know. Similarly, if you want to call a break, if I kind of go into weird territory for you or something you don't want to deal with, then tell me. Just kind of say, can we freeze it there for a moment? So that's the word, freeze.
The hand gesture can be the timeout that we use for things.
Timeout?
Oh yeah, we can use that.
Yeah,
We're all used to that symbol for stop play, so we can use that as timeout.
That's fine. So, you know, if, for example, I'm kind of describing a job interview or something, and you're like, I've done 5 job interviews this week, I have no desire to hear that, then just tell me and we'll tweak it and make it work.
Yeah.
Cool. We're going to describe all your characters growing up together, and I know you don't know who your characters are yet, but we're going to find out as we go. So, you all grew up together on a planet. Can we just start by sort of saying what kind of planet it is? I mean, there's loads of science fiction planets. You could do, like, you know, mining planets, forest planets. What planet do you want?
Well, I think if we have a mining engineer and a geologist and we're on a mining and excavation mission, I think it makes sense to be a mining colony, maybe.
Okay. We can do a mining colony. Go on.
One of those bleak, dark, and depressing ones. It's all metal everywhere. I think perhaps airless.
Windy?
Yeah?
No,
Yeah.
airless.
want-
But I was thinking really windy all the time.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So the sound of this metal just getting punished by the wind all the time makes it really loud all the time as well. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Spitballing here.
What?
Must say, Graham, I really like the way we chose our careers there. Nothing like a bit of pressure,
Go on, Brew, Chris, throw something in about the planet. Just
I
a
think
thing
it'd be kind
about
of cold,
planet.
too, like if it's just mainly metallic, colder atmosphere.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where do people live on this planet?
In a big metal cylinder, in this that goes through the center of the planet.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, so they've literally kind of, in a way, drilled or something a cylinder through the center of the planet.
Yeah, because the rest of the planet is inhabitable, so they live within the cylinder.
It's too
And the
windy on the
cylinder
outside.
heats. The cylinder heats because it's through the core of the planet.
The deeper you go, the more you can probably work the metal.
I like that.
Oh, that's brilliant. So you're living in this, and you're not going to the surface to mine. Is that right? Do you go to the surface to mine?
Ooh, you could be
you
working
mine
from
out?
the inside
From the
out, couldn't
inside
you?
out, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's got. I like the idea of the outside it being uninhabitable. Let's say it's too windy. The winds are like 300 miles per hour or something, so it's like you can't go on the outside. So you've got a real danger when you're mining if you get to the crust, because if you get too near the crust and you break through, you're just going to go and go flying around the planet. I quite like that.
Love that. That's absolutely amazing. Cool. Okay, so we're going to describe you guys growing up together. So, and by the way, I should say you're all going to be human, just before people, before you all do these weird aliens, and and I have to go, no aliens. So yeah, we're going to start you growing up before you went to school. So you're kind of fairly small children, and let's start just because you two are top of the screen for me. Let's do Brew and Chris. Should we do you guys? So Brew, let's start with you. So we're going to see you two playing somewhere on the planet. Where do kids play on a mining planet?
In
If
a
you live in
mining
this-
shaft, they shouldn't go in.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would imagine that children are all like conscripted into like a school. So like it's like a live-in, stay-in school where the teachers are like the parental, you know, guidance. And you don't really see your family until you're maybe 16, or if you are old enough, like it's in you grow soon enough to work, you get put to work as soon as you're big enough to work.
Yeah. No, I like that. I tell you what, I did love playing in a mining tunnel though. Can we stick
like
with that for
that
the
as
moment?
well.
We'll keep
Yeah.
the school idea because that's cool too. So yeah, I mean, there's loads of these old mining tunnels, sort of going out through this cylinder that goes through the planet. And I mean, Brew, let's start with your character, just wandering off into one of these mining tunnels, and just, you know, what do they look like? Just throw out some ideas.
Probably a little little girl with a ponytail. She's probably got auburn hair, hazel eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of petite for her age. Maybe gets picked on a little bit, but has some warmth and personality to her, despite kind of the conditions we live in.
That's really sweet. And Chris, tell us a bit about your character when we first see them.
So he's a bit brutish, a bit bullish, very clumsy, quite stout, very, you know, short, tubby kind of guy, and he wears glasses that are broke, and has a shaved head, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of.
I like that. That's really good. So, Brew, let's have your character wandering into the mining tunnels, and we're just going to play out like a really short scene, just the shortest of short scenes, and it's just to sort of see you two interacting a bit. So, Brew, we've got this sort of petite ponytail girl walking to this mining tunnel. Chris, we've got your character behind him, sort of stout guy, broken glasses. And Chris, I just want you to start by saying, it's time to go. And then we'll just play out a little conversation back and forth. So can we do that? Just say, it's time to go, and we'll just see where the conversation goes.
It's time to go.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Let's go a little bit further. We're always stuck in school. I think that, you know, we gotta explore a little, have some time.
But they told us that there's monsters in these caverns and caves. We shouldn't be in here. You know that we shouldn't.
I don't think they come up this close to the school, though. I mean, I heard Tommy came in here one time, and he found some cool stuff a little bit further in, and I just want to kind of see what there is.
Well, as long as we're back and we don't get in trouble, we could go a little bit further.
Okay.
Tell you what, let's just leave it there, because just a really quick little scene with you two. I absolutely love that. That's fantastic. Cool. And you guys, I have to ask quickly. So, Chris, does your character believe in those monsters?
Yes.
Yeah. Rue, what about your character?
Probably, but half of it is seeing is believing for, I think, my character.
Yeah, love that. Cool. Mark, let's come to you. So you guys grow up, and you, it's your first day of school, where, you know, it's that school Chris was talking about. So you're kind of conscripted into school. You know, you won't see your parents, and it's, you know, it's kind of a working education. You'll pretty soon be put to work. And let's can you just pick one of the other characters just to be, and we're going to just instantly make them kind of your biggest rival.
Ooh. Wow. Biggest rival. That's harsh. I don't know. I kind of think it's gonna be fun for Brew to be my biggest rival. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
The geologist and the mining engineer.
Yeah.
Oh no, I like that.
This do I.
I really like that. That would totally happen, wouldn't it? Mark, what does your character look like on the first day of school?
He's quite smartly dressed. But I guess everybody has to be on their first day of school, right? He's got his hair's quite closely cropped. It's dark hair. He has dark eyes. Quite a swarthy complexion. He's of average height, but his build's quite thin. He's quite a slim build. And he gives off the impression that he's quite intelligent. I say he gives off the impression.
Yeah.
It's quite.
Cool. No, that's great. And so let's have your guy standing just outside the school, Mark, and Brew. Your character comes. Still with a ponytail, still this petite girl, and I want her to say. We're going to start this one with you saying to Mark's character, "You know what I do better than you," and we're just going to run it from there. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You know what I do better than you? Probably everything.
And it's funny because I was going to say nothing. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, give me examples. I think I need to hear an example here. Come on, let's. Apart from peeing, sitting down, maybe.
Oh my gosh, I have a long list. Let's get started. You thought that one rock was like metamorphic, and it was completely not. So I think you probably just need to go back a couple of years to learn that. But I mean, gosh, you just put on these airs, like you're dressed all smart today, and you know our families can't really afford much down here. We don't have what you have, maybe, but I mean, at least.
Oh, you think I'm the rich guy? Is that what it is?
I mean,
you think I'm the rich guy?
Obviously, money buys stuff because you're here and you think you know everything. But...
Oh, give me a break. You know, I don't even have to argue with you because there's no point. You know, you can't argue with an idiot because they drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience, and that's exactly what you're.
Let me know when you see one, because right now I'm talking to a wall.
Let's stop it there. That's brilliant. And obviously, I could just let you guys talk for 3 hours and just sit back. That'd be great. Just insult each other for 3 hours.
Welcome to a stream of banter and insults.
Yeah. In fact, screw it. Let's do that now. That's fantastic. And you guys go to school and you start working in the mines. Oh, hey, Mark, I've got to ask: is your character actually a rich kid or not?
I didn't think he was, but maybe he is now. Yeah, let's go with it. Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's say his family has influence. Maybe. How about that?
Yeah, I mean influence on this black backwater planet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. And so you guys grow up and you're put to work in this colony. Over time, you sort of hear rumors about the planet and the mining operations being bought by a sort of multi-planetary company. It's called Extraxa. There's this sort of mining and resource conglomerate, and then the Extractor sort of logos start appearing everywhere. And then it's on your just on your last day of education, you're looking for a job. And you go to the Extraxa Recruitment Center. And I just want to see... Oliver, can you just pick one of the other characters? And we're just going to make them someone you admire.
Okay.
So randomly, who would you...
I'm going with Mark's character. I'm going with him because I think my character is from a poorer background and is jealous of his rich boy background. My character tries to dress really nice. He's got braces on and a bow tie, but it looks like little Sheldon. It just doesn't look like a little nerd. The trousers are too short and everything doesn't fit right. The jacket's too long. The sleeves are hanging down way past his wrists, and he's jealous of rich boy. He admires him, but it's in a he wishes he could be that. Admiration. It's envy as well. Admiration and envy.
I like that. I really love that. And so, although actually, I want to change the dynamic round there. So, Mark, you two are traveling to the Extractor Recruitment Center together. How do you travel on this planet?
Ooh, I'm imagining like huge lifts or elevators, these metal cages that are basically going up and down through the center of this cylinder, perhaps. Taking us up to a floor where the extractor offices are.
Yeah, it's very near the surface. I mean, probably closer to the surface than you've been before.
Okay.
And Mark, as you look at this young man sitting next to you with his bow tie and his his braces, his slightly ill-fitting clothes, you can see that for some reason he looks really calm. And so I just want to start the scene by you saying, how do you stay so calm? And we're just going to run the scene from there. Is that okay?
How do you stay so calm, man?
Multiple panic attacks before I came in the building. Get it out my system.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
There's no more left. There's no more panic left in me. I got it all out. I'm just running on pure medication and nerves now.
I mean, they're just people, right? We
I hope so.
we don't have to be worried. I don't know. We shouldn't be nervous. Why should we be nervous?
I don't know. I studied hard. I've done nothing but studies, so I shouldn't be nervous. But I am. It's my nature. I can't help it.
Okay. We're nearly there. So what are you going to say when you go in? What?
Please give me a job. I'm going to show them my school results. I was top of all the sciences in all the classes throughout every year in school. So hopefully they're looking for intellect over personality, and that's going to be my chance, I think.
I mean, one piece of advice, man. Don't beg. You don't have to beg.
Yeah, you think? Okay, that's good advice. And he pulls out a little notebook.
Love it.
Thank you.
And then the lift arrives and the doors open. You go to the recruitment center. It doesn't take long, and they don't really interview. They just sort of check against your school record and things you've written online and so on, and just there's an artificial intelligence. It sort of works out whether you'd be a good match for the company, and you all get jobs. You're all recruited then and there. So you're you get jobs, and you're taken up even further into the lift, and then you arrive on the surface, and on the surface, right, this sort of bleak, windy thing that maybe you've never seen before. You're taking along this tube, which is buffeted by the wind, to this huge ship, the Exchange, and you get on board, and it begins to lift into the sky. And I just want, can we just have Oliver and Chris, can we just have your characters, and I want you in this kind of viewing gallery, just looking back over the planet, like this this bleak mining planet. You can see the cylinder driven through the middle. And Chris, can we have your character saying, "You know what I'll miss the most," and then we'll just run it from there.
Do you know what I'm going to miss the most?
What's that?
Absolutely nothing about this place. It's absolutely desolate, and seeing it from this perspective, it's even worse. Look what we've done here. The cracks in it. It's horrible.
I think the bleakness has a certain beauty to it.
Well, you probably like the slop they served this here in school every single day as well, didn't you?
I like the sound of the wind. It's poetic. It's been my home all my life. I've never known anything else. It's strange to look here leaving. It's bittersweet. I think I'll miss it, if I'm honest.
Well, all I've heard from older people and the teachers that I was with was that out there's much, much more, and I can see the stars from here, and there's so much brightness out there that we have never seen. How would anyone ever want to stay in this hellhole.
I'm not saying I want to stay, but I just think I'll miss it. It's all I've ever known.
At that moment, a particularly huge gust of wind catches the ship, and you know when you're on an aircraft and you know there's turbulence and it drops or something, and just for a moment you think, "Shit, we're actually going to die." You know that feeling, right?
Oh yeah, don't sort of. Whoa, I hate it. It's the worst.
And so you guys get that, and so the ship is, you know, blown off course, and then it rises again, and then it starts accelerating towards just the far side of the galaxy. And this takes weeks, and you're trained. I mean, you're trained already, right? So Oliver, you're trained in medicine. You know, you're all trained in your specialisms, and you accept the ship accelerates, and as it does, you go through sort of training to, you know, get part of the company, training into the equipment, and then it's the night before your first mission, and you go to sleep as you always do. So you're sort of sleeping in this. I want you to imagine these sort of semi-vertical pods that you kind of recline in.
Lean back.
And every night when you go to sleep, this voice asks you questions. It's some sort of psychological assessment, and it talks to you tonight as well. And I've just realised for this next bit, I'm going to need names for your characters. So throw out some names. Brew, can we give your character a name? Your ponytail character.
Emily. Do you need a last name or first name only?
Emily's fine, actually. Chris, can we name your character?
Dean.
Oliver.
Miguel.
Yeah. And that's Miguel, Miguel, isn't it?
Yes. So it's of Spanish descent, I guess.
Yeah, fantastic. And then Mark.
Cassidy.
Right, Cassidy. Emily, Dean, Cassidy, Miguel. And so you go to sleep in these sort of semi-vertical pods, and this voice asks you questions. You know you're being monitored, right? This is some sort of assessment, and you strongly suspect that even if you lied to this voice that was asking you questions, it will kind of know what the real answer was anyway. And the questions have been getting weirder and weirder. And the night before your first mission, you each get a question. And so, Dean, this is you, Chris. Dean, the question you get is, or the voice sort of starts by going, "Hello, Dean.
Hello.
What scares you most about space?"
Being trapped in a void, no way of getting away.
You, Dean. Emily, what scares you most about being alone?
The fear that I'm never gonna amount to anything. So if I don't have any recognition from others, they're never gonna see what I can really do.
Thank you, Emily. Oliver. Sorry, Miguel. What is the most terrifying way to die?
The being crushed to death by the instant depressurizing of a room in space. What's the word? Being like when the pressure changes from
Explosive decompression.
explosive decompression is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, thanks, Mark.
It was all right.
Explosive decompression. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Thank you, Miguel. Cassidy, what would it be like to live forever?
That's That's pretty scary, I guess. I mean, we're not supposed to live forever, are we? But I guess you know all there is to know, right?
Thank you, Cassidy. And there you go. And you all go to sleep that night. You're woken the next morning, and you suit up and you get onto the shuttle and you descend to the surface of the asteroid. And so we're back where we were at the start of the stream. You're given your operational instructions, which I'm going to put in the chat just so you guys can see them. Your instructions are: find a suitable space to set up the living pod, take an initial sample using the geological analyzer, check in with the exchange using the subspace radio, rest. Mark really doesn't like these instructions because he's just gone off. Yeah, yeah. And then find a suitable space to drive the mining shaft. Excellent. Okay, so I mean that's what you've got to do. We're going to start in a minute. I'm just going to we can go through the rules as we go along, but there's one I want to change. Tell you straight away. So in Cosmic Dark, you have a score called Changed, which is how much space has changed you. If you played Cthulhu Dark, it's pretty much equivalent to Insight, with a couple of tweaks. Yeah. So your change score starts at 1. Every time something happens that freaks you out, or every time you get injured or there's some sort of body trauma, you roll a die. And if you get more than your current score, your changed will tick up from 1. What I really need from you guys is, it really helps me, is every time something that happens that is freaky or is weird or that creeps you out, roll a die. And it just really helps me if you guys are going, oh, I need to roll a die now, rather than me saying, it is time to roll your change die. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just whenever we think it's freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really, that works really nicely for me.
And that's a D6.
That's a D6. Yeah. I mean, you could roll a D20 or something, but you just get mad really, really quickly. So that'd be bad for you, honestly. So
yeah, because you want to roll it as low as possible.
Yeah.
So it works in the same mechanic as Insight once it gets to 6. That's it.
Once it gets to 6, your character's story is over. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Love it.
Ooh. All right. And shuttle touches down on the surface, and you step out onto this asteroid, this sort of glowing asteroid. You can see the landscape extending around you. Yeah, and I'll leave you guys there to talk.
Okay, geologist. What is it that makes this thing glow the way it does?
It's Hackmanite, so it's typically like a phenomenon. It's a little bit mysterious still, but usually it's just a synthetic kind of look to it, or it's a synthetic material and it glows.
Is it dangerous?
Not from what research has shown so far. I mean, really just a property of the rock itself.
Although when you look around the asteroid, Emily, there is something unsettling about it. You can see the landscape kind of undulating, almost like an animal, really. You know that feeling in a forest where you keep sort of seeing like body shapes in the corner of your eye. There's a bit of this with this. It's almost like you can see a bit of an arm and a curve of human body. There's something about it.
I was just about to say how pretty it looks.
Wait for the dice. Yeah.
Nice.
I was just about to say how pretty I thought it looked, and then I changed my mind when you said
Yeah. I'm not looking.
I liked the colour. I thought it was a really nice luminescent glow, like
Mm.
better than
There is
the
a
grey
beauty
wind
about it.
back home.
I mean, I'm assuming we're all looking at this thing. Do we all see that, or is it just Emily that notices it because of her training?
You will all see this sort of unsettling,
Okay. I'm gonna roll for
slightly
that then.
weird landscape.
Yeah.
I'll try to justify it for everyone. Then it could be just like, you know, the UV and the properties of the radiance from the rock that's casting shadows on its surrounding. That's maybe, you know, kind of shifting images in our perception, but nothing really dangerous from what I can tell based on research.
Yeah, there are different forms of Hackmanite, Emily. So it could be some sort of form you haven't seen before. There could easily be a rational explanation for this.
Is Hackmanite? Is that what we're here to mine? Sorry, I may have missed something. Is that what we're actually here to mine, or is it something else we're after?
You've given your operational instructions. Yeah, you're here to mine the asteroid.
Right,
so
okay, yeah.
If there's Hackmanite, that sounds very much like the sort of thing that
Okay, yeah.
Extractor would be interested in.
Sounds like
Yeah.
sounds like a Pokemon.
I mean, have you ever seen an asteroid with so much Hackmanite, like on the surface like that?
No, I mean, it's a little odd, but it could just be that this broke off from a larger structure, you know, and this is now the exposed, what used to be internal.
I just, hope,
Imagine finding a larger structure.
I just hope the medical studies that it's non-radioactive and non-harmful are all correct. So, the very large concentration of it we have here. I mean, if this is radioactive, like was first suspected in the first studies, we would all die just from the exposure to this rock. But yeah, it's a good job they did that study and it's not radioactive.
There was a large body of work on Hackmanite, Miguel, and you know, sort of rumours that it was that there's something very dangerous about it. But no, the medical studies all came up. Yeah. Just give me a little description of Miguel. So you're standing on this asteroid. You're all suited up, of course. You have these sort of lightweight space suits. You have things like scanners, so you can sort of scan just about anything you want, and eventually you will set up the living pod. But for the moment, what does Miguel look like when he's standing there on this asteroid?
What does he look like? Well, I'd say I like the name Miguel, so I'm going to say he's of Spanish descent or Hispanic descent of some kind. So let's say dark hair, dark eyebrows, much darker skin than me anyway. But he's short and he's skinny, like me. So quite scrawny, not a very imposing figure at all. Quite the opposite, in fact. He almost stands like as if he's leaning back a little the whole time, like he's getting out of the way or something a little bit. Like if you, I don't know who watches football, but the way Declan Rice runs, it's that leaning back thing. He does that. He's the opposite of imposing, and he always just seems to be like, whenever he stands next to someone, he always just stands that one step back so as to draw the attention away from himself.
Oh, that makes sense. So are the other three sort of standing around talking, and then Miguel is a step back, or I don't know.
A half step back. When people are in a line and talking, he would always just take a half step back to it, so as to seem the opposite of the centre of attention. He always seems to take a back seat in conversations. And
that makes sense. And how's Miguel feeling at the moment? Like, given this is a guy who thinks the most terrifying way to die is being sucked out into space, and you are standing essentially in space on this asteroid. How's that for you?
He's also now thinking about radiation poisoning would be quite a horrible way to die as well. Like your pee shrinking until there's nothing left and your eyes popping out. All these things he's seen in science fiction movies. So he's feeling very nervous about being here. But then he thinks back to that medical study, and he read it so many times. He's a bookie nerd, and he's a science medical nerd, and he believes in the scientist that did that study, and he reminds himself it's not radioactive. He's not scared at all. And then he starts thinking about mining accidents that he's read about, and he's scared all over again.
Yeah. And Dean, we haven't really heard from you yet. What's happening with Dean at the moment?
So Dean's having a rifle through the equipment to try and set up the communication network. So the first protocol that he's looking for is a high ground, so that there would be no imposing signals. So it's probably going to also engage Emily in conversation to find out whether or not it's going to be any problem, this Hackmanite, with the equipment. Like, is it going to block radio frequencies of a certain kind, because then I'll use a different antenna, you know, things like that.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it shouldn't interfere. From everything that I can tell, I think it's more reflective properties from like UV exposure. So any kind of light source is going to give off that kind of illumination from the rock. So I don't think it actually has any kind of radio wave frequency inhibiting qualities.
And you're saying that the rock bounces UV off it?
Yeah, it's kind of like if you look at like water when it bends light a little bit. It's got kind of properties of that. When you shine a light on it, it seems like it just illuminates because it's bouncing off its kind of crystalline structure.
Well,
And there is something about this asteroid that you can almost look down. I mean, it's not like it's completely transparent, right? But you can imagine that you're looking deep into it. Hey, Emily, you know, there's all these medical studies around Hackmanite, and there was, you know, rumours that it was actually quite dangerous. What did Emily think about that?
I mean, I think it's kind of folklore sometimes.
Yeah.
It's very kind of pish posh with some of the medical studies. You know, I think when you look at that, you end up getting some outliers of people who may have pre-existing conditions or comorbidities that are going to contribute to kind of skewing your data. So, I mean, people are bound to lie.
Do you think that medical studies are as like scientifically valid as geological studies?
Nah. I mean, rock is gonna. It can't talk to you. It can't change its feeling, right? I feel like people are fishing for a response or some kind of a reaction. So
Rocks don't lie.
I've had a pet rock since I was 2.
Does Emily doesn't have a pet rock with her, does she?
She might. She probably does.
I'm down with that. No, that's good. So deep in you. I love that actually that Emily has smuggled this little personal thing. Does a pet rock have a name, or is it just a pet rock?
Ooh.
We can come back to the name of the pet rock.
We could just call it the rock.
Rocky. It's Rocky.
Yeah, well, let's go with Rocky.
All right, well, there you guys are. Oh, Chris, you were looking at the equipment, weren't you? So, yeah, you're fiddling around with the equipment. Couple of things. The first thing is, for some reason, there's something about the equipment that when you move it, it's slightly hard to move for a moment. Almost like it's kind of sunk slightly into the asteroid.
So it's moving in toward the asteroid. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, you could look at it and try and work it out, and that's your first thought. But why don't you give me a roll actually? So give me. So this is how we do rolls in Cosmic Dark. So 1d6 if it's something any employee could do. So yes, it is. 1d6 if your specialism comes into play. It's comms, so no, it doesn't. And you can add your change die to any roll. So either give me 1d6 roll or 2d6 if you want to. If you want to add your change die.
He's just trying to work out the command. There he goes.
Yeah, that's good. And what we do is look at the highest die, which is a 5. So Dean, it's not that the equipment has sunk in the asteroid. It's that you think the rock, and you know this is crazy, right? But you think the rock has crept up around the equipment.
Okay. That's it's not going to be good for setting this antenna up, because if I set it up and then this rock eats it, what am I going to do?
And on a
So
5. Oh, sorry.
I'm probably gonna ask Emily to come and check this out if she knows why the rock's sucking all my equipment into the ground.
It could just be a property of it, so kind of like magma, how it can be liquid but semi-liquid or actual solid, depending on its state and the temperature of it. Maybe it's having some reaction with the construction of the antenna.
Cassidy,
I mean, did you want to
could
study
you give
the
me a
rock?
hand to pull this off the ground? Because I can't get this off myself.
So we have
Yeah.
to take a sample anyway. Maybe we can
Break a
gather
little off.
some.
I mean, yeah, I think Cassidy's probably been trying to hammer in some kind of seismometer or something, maybe. Or some kind of something for scanning the interior of the rock. So he's trying to hammer that in when he's hearing this over the radio.
So let me just freeze you there for a next.
Sure.
A couple of things are going to happen at once. So, actually, Dean, the first thing is I need to come back with you. So you rolled a 5, which means you get an additional fact, and what happens is your communicator is constantly cross-referencing with Extrax's databases, seeing if there's anything useful it can find, and you start bringing up some of the mining expeditions that have gone to these various Hackmanite asteroids. Not many people came back from those expeditions.
He could have led with that.
They might
So,
have mentioned
guys,
that in the job
we
interview, eh?
We might be on a suicide mission, because from what I've just found out through the comms, it's not good. Like, there's very few people have ever came back from these rocks. I don't care what your silly studies say or your silly books about rocks say.
Is that why in the contract it
Facts
says you
are
get?
facts.
Is that why in the contract it says we get paid if we return, not when we return? I did wonder about the wording on that. Is that why it says that in the contract? Is it? Penny drops inside his head somewhere like, "What have you done, man? What have you done?" In fact, I'm gonna roll a dice because the penny just dropped that we're on this suicide mission. I'm gonna roll the change.
Could just be that it's a lucrative rock, so people go AWOL.
Jesus
and-
Christ, why are you having to overreact about this, man?
Ooh. So on a 6 in cosmicdark. Oh no, sorry, no, that's
a change roll.
That's a change roll, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was doing my
All
insight,
right.
like, oh shit, I'm totally freaked out. I just had the realization that we're gonna die here.
So your change just ticks up by 1.
So does that mean I'm on 3 now already?
Sounds right. And I just want to come to Cassidy as well. So you were hammering something into the rock, and actually, would you just give me a roll to hammer something into the rock?
I think this is going to be a 2d6, right?
Yeah,
it's
your specialism,
occupation,
your
right?
mining engineer.
Yeah.
1d6 and another for your specialism.
So if I do 2d6 straight off there, then.
Please roll a 6. I've got something fun if you roll a
Oh,
6.
no, I've let you down. I've let you down. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's much better for you. 6s are very bad. So you are hammering this thing into the rock, and after sort of 3 hammer strokes, you catch yourself on a spike of rock. It must be sharp because it's gone through your suit and just scratched your arm. And your suit healed up instantly, so you're fine. But it's scratched, and yeah, it's almost as if something just came out of the rock.
Son of a bitch! What are you babbling about over there? Jesus Christ! I'm holding my arm up.
I see he's in pain. I'm gonna rush over as the medical officer. And are you holding up your arm or looking at your arm?
Yeah, I think, holding it up. It's just making sure that the suit had sealed as well.
So I flip a little scanner off my belt and I'm like, hold it still, man. And I start scanning along it with a little analyzer.
That's brilliant. Well, give me a roll to scan the wound, and let's come back just for a moment to Dean and Emily. What are you guys doing with the equipment?
I'm waiting for a hole to be dug so that I can stick this radio tower up. I think I've got like the thing assembled, but it needs put into the ground. So,
And I'm gonna try and just gather a sample, whether there's loose debris around or if I can maybe get it up close to the antenna where he was putting that down and it was kind of creeping up, to see if it maybe sinks in the same.
That's great. Give me a roll to analyze, to take a sample of the rock. Dean, so when you sort of want to dig a hole to put the comms tower in, is that usually you digging the hole, or would someone else dig the hole?
Well, it would be the engineer, the mining engineer.
Right.
I don't know how I'm doing it. Yeah. I do the comms. Everyone else does everything else.
Not your job to make holes in the ground. I mean, that's not your expertise. Just to check, Cassidy, when you were hammering that thing, was that digging the hole for the comms tower?
I think he was placing a sensor down.
Right.
Probably. That was his intention, and I think the way he sees it is that while Emily and Dean or Dean was yakking on about, we're all gonna die kind of stuff. He feels you've distracted me, and I've mishit, and now I've torn the suit. I've been scraped on the rock. Hell, what is wrong with you, man? That kind of reaction. And so I guess he turns on Dean at that point.
That's really nice, and we can do that in a moment. Sorry, I keep interrupting you guys.
That's fine. No, it's fine.
Let's just do Miguel, because you're scanning the wound. So right at the moment, Cassidy, Miguel is scanning the wound. Yeah, you can look at it.
I rolled a 4 and a 3.
Yeah, so a high of a 4, which means you find out, just about everything there is to find out. So yeah, it's a wound. I mean, it's as though he's scratched himself on a spike of rock. Maybe he wasn't being careful or something. I mean, he's saying it shot us out of the rock, but that's complete bollocks, obviously. So he must have just sort of scratched himself on a spike of rock, which does happen if you're not being careful when you're working. And the only thing you notice is that the scratch on the arm. I'm trying to show my camera my arm. I don't want to do this. When you look just at the end of the wound, there's a little incrustation of the rock.
Oh, there's a little bit of it crusted, like scab on it, like.
Yeah.
Okay. Now his suit's back closed, so for me to actually do any medical work to clean it, we would have to go back inside the dropship to get back into a pressurized area. Because
so actually,
we'd have to set up there. Yeah.
Set up there. I can't just open up his suit and get a look at that. But I want to have a look at that because that's not a good thing. So I'm going to say to Cassidy, there seems to be a residual little piece of the rock on your wound. We're going to have to get that cleaned. So we're going to have to get into a pressurized area so I can do an actual medical cleaning on your arm, mate.
Can it wait?
I don't know. I mean, they did all that study on this stuff. It's a strong mineral. They say it's not radioactive, but being wounded by it can't be good for anybody. I think we should clean it immediately. It can't be good to be getting your arm cut by any foreign mineral. I think it is quite imperative that we get that done immediately, mate. Yeah.
Okay. I look across at Dean. I just shrug.
Are you still fit to work? Can you dig a hole so I can get this radio tower in so that we can get back? You know, there's no bombs without comms. There's no lifts off this place without getting back and being able to speak to these people. So
Yes,
if you
right.
could maybe do your job, rich boy.
He is right. As the medical officer, I need you to get that cleaned immediately. But he is right. The comms is vitally important. Be really fast doing that for him, and then we're gonna get that cleaned. Notice he doesn't volunteer to do the manual labour. Get on with the manual labour, then I'll clean your wind.
Emily
Jesus.
makes a mental note of being better than you one more time.
Aren't even dig
God
holes.
damn. Yeah.
Can't
What?
even dig a hole straight.
Okay. I'd make my way sulkily over towards Dean. Okay, I look down. Where you want it?
And I get a bit of like chalk and just like kind of just mark on the ground. Or if it's kind of dusty-ish, just wipe it with my hand like a big axe, and I'm like, that'll do.
Okay, so I'm assuming we're going to have some kind of power tool that we can drill something into here. Would that be a fair assessment? Yeah.
It's part of the kit. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Numbers.
part
And
of
I guess
my
I've got it
kit.
slung on my back, so I'm pulling that off and aligning it about here.
That's it. Yeah, looks good for me.
Cassidy, how do you? Okay, two things, right? First, oh, by the way, Brew, I do know you've rolled for a thing to analyze the rock. I'm coming
much
back
more
to you.
entertaining.
It's stuff's kicking off. Yeah, this is like kicking off. So, Cassidy, two things. First, how do you feel about the fact that the comms officer everyone expects you to dig holes?
Well, I got a sneaking suspicion that Cassidy probably he feels like a bit of a letdown. Really, I'm figuring they were from a mining, like a mining town, right? Mining planet. So I figure that the most common job that people are going to get there are like mining engineers. So he's like the lowest of the low. He's probably properly messed up somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a suitable
Mining engineers, the bottom of the ladder. It's when you work in a
I mean,
call
yeah,
centre.
kind of. It's like everybody expects you to be a mining engineer.
Like when you work in a call centre and they call you
because you're working in
accounts manager.
So he obviously screwed up somewhere or upset somebody. I mean, he'll see it that way because it can't be that he was dumb and made a mistake. He's somebody's got it in for him. So yeah, he's pretty annoyed when Dean is telling me to do my job and to dig a little hole. It's just a little hole. Any one of us could dig a little hole. You know how to use the goddamn drill. But he keeps it under wraps a little bit because he's a little bit ashamed, maybe as well. So
the last time you made a hole in the rock, something shot out of the rock. Well, I mean, it can't have happened, but that was the impression, that something shot out of the rock and scratched you. Do you think that's going to happen again if you drill?
I mean, it's more likely. I mean, what probably happened was he's probably hit something and it's just kind of flown out. He's chipped a bit of the stone off, and it's flown out, right? That makes
That's
sense.
the rational explanation. Yeah, that must be what happened. Absolutely, yeah.
So clearly, this thing, it's quite brittle. It's going to shatter. So he's going to approach this with caution and using all of his mining engineer knowledge, I suppose. He's going to say to everybody, you're going to have to stand back a little bit. This stuff, it seems to like to fly off in all directions. So
I'm keeping a close eye on him. Is he wearing a helmet? Has he got gloves on? Is he
OSHA violation?
Is he lifting with his knees and not his back? I'm like watching all of that.
Cassidy, is that true, or are you?
I mean, he'll be following the very basic safety precautions. He's not too worried about whether he's bending his knees and stuff like that. He doesn't care about that kind of stuff. But
I'm sweating bullets.
but in terms of, he's not going to risk his own life to dig a hole.
All right.
For some guy that thinks he's a rich kid.
No, that's great. So let's leave you about to dig a hole in the rock, and we'll see what happens when you do. Is anyone sort of putting up the living pod at the moment, by the way?
Yeah, I will be, because I'm waiting. I need him to get that done so that I can get a look at that arm. I'm concerned about that. So while I'm waiting on him drilling the hole for the comms tower, I will start pulling out the living pod.
Definitely. Emily, right. Sorry about that. Let's come back to you.
No, you're good.
You have done you've analysed the rock. I mean, it is a variation on Hackmanite. Hackmanite takes various forms, and you've never seen Hackmanite which looks exactly like this before. It has an almost organic-like structure, which is not something you see in rock. You're having to cast your mind back to what an organic structure is, but there's something almost almost organic, almost living about this rock.
That's interesting. So it looks like there's more organic properties to this structure. Not really exhibiting any properties like I typically see for more geological features. So just heads up. I don't know what that means, really.
I mean, it's still a rock, right?
Is it though,
appears
Emily?
like one.
I imagine my character not hearing this. He's too busy. And I'm glad he didn't hear this.
I've got headphones on, trying to tune in the frequencies. So walking about like this, I'm not listening to Emily anymore.
Yeah. Cool. Did you want to do anything else, Emily? So you've got that scan. You can always run deeper scans, or you can do what you want.
Yeah, I'd like to run a deeper scan if I can, just to get more information on kind of what that organic composition might compare to, if it's like any known creature or similarity to any organism we're aware of.
Perfect. That sounds good. Oh, actually, I've just realised you rolled a 5 when you were rolling. So you will also find something additional out. So your suit is cross-referencing against databases. It sort of pulls out facts for you from time to time. You remember some of the medical studies that Miguel was talking about. Not just the medical studies, but sort of the scientific debate that within Extractor that led to them. And you seem to remember that there was this idea that Hackmanite was living and growing. It was a completely discredited idea. There's some discredited papers. The people didn't last long with Extractor. But you remember that the idea was there.
If I were to do a deeper scan, would I get more information beyond that?
Sure. Yes. You won't like it, but yes, you
Oh.
can. Yeah.
Do I want to?
Yeah. Actually, I tell you what, Emily. Let's say that to do the deeper scan, there's equipment in the living pod that you could use. So yeah, you would need all the machinery you've got in there. But yeah, you can absolutely analyze the rock more. Sure.
Okay. Do I need to wait until that do I need to assist with getting the living quarters up, the living pod up?
Yeah, I mean the living pod is, we've been talking a while, right? So the living pod is it constructs itself and it sort of anchors itself to the rock, and it's up now, so it's ready for you to go in. Does anyone else want to do anything else before you go into the living pod?
I'm just picturing this thing building itself. Basically, I just have to find a flat enough spot for the ground.
Yeah.
Then these little things shoot out from underneath it to anchor it down, and then it just goes and folds up like a transformer.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Yeah. Cool.
So I'm gonna
Right.
set up once it is up. I'm gonna set up the medical bay first. Then, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. So you go into the living pod. I mean, imagine there's a sort of hub area where you can all congregate and eat, and then you each have your own areas. So there's a medical bit, there's a mining bit. Emily, you'll have a geological lab there. Chris, you have a comms sort of communications room, and there's bunks in all of these places where you will sleep. The recommendation is generally that you will. So there's a sort of artificial day-night thing in the living pod, and so It's evening at the moment, and I think you gather the expectation is that you will sleep and then get up in the morning and do whatever you need to do. By the way, as Graham, I don't care what you do. You do what you want. But, you know, Extractor obviously expects you to sleep. So yeah.
So I get signed into the medical computer, get that all set up. I'm going to do a proper full physical examination with clothes off to real skin on our mining officer.
Yeah. Cassidy, are you going to the medical bay for this?
I'm going to drill a hole first. Do I have to do that? Do I have to make a roll for that or anything, or is it just a case of?
Yeah, you should roll to drill the hole. Why not?
Yeah.
Since obviously that's a key thing that mining engineers do. It's like their core
Part of
skill.
your job, mate. Yeah. Watch them fail to drill a hole.
I quite like the idea, Cassidy, that everyone else has now gone into the living pod, and so just for a moment, it's just you.
Just me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm mumbling to myself and grumbling. I'll give him goddamn rich kid. I'll give him son of a bitch. What are they talking about? They don't know anything. I got a 5.
Okay.
So yeah, digging into this thing, moaning away to himself, feeling sorry for himself.
Yeah. You successfully drill a hole, and there is a moment where you wonder whether something's going to shoot out at you, and it doesn't this time. And you know, maybe is there a little sense of relief in Cassidy that he?
I think so.
Nothing.
Yeah. He was expecting this thing to shatter into all these thousands of pieces and come flying out and tear him to bits.
Yeah. I'm just thinking what I can. I'm just thinking what I can give you.
It's evil thinking. I can tell it's evil thinking.
What you will get. Let's give you something related to the wound. So your suit is sort of monitoring your health, and for a moment, I think maybe it starts sort of pulling up medical records, and you get a medical report. Just for a moment, it flashes on your sort of little view screen that just suggests that when employees have been infected with this rock before, there was no cure. It gets in the body, it goes straight in the bloodstream, and that's it.
Okay. So as soon as I've finished with the drilling,
Feel free to roll change dice whenever, by the way.
I think that's a good opportunity to do that. Ooh.
I think Graham, while he's getting that report up, I think one of the things that I'm looking up as soon as I log into the medical computer is what has happened to humans who have been wounded by this stuff. So I'm in the med bay. I'm looking up this same thing that he's just got on the computer. Yeah. I think I'm gonna.
And I think your radio crackles as you're doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, Miguel, you got that thing set up yet?
Yeah, we're ready to go. Are you ready? You've done your comms tower hole. You ready to come in here and get examined?
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Get in here as
I'm my way back in. And I'll go in through the hab entrance, taking off my suit, and I look at Dean and say, "I dug your hole," and under my breath I go, "Asshole."
Being sat, arms behind the head, quite similar to this, feet up on the desk, going, right, well, hasn't bothered to take his suit off because he's now had to work into the night. So, has took his helmet back on, put that back on, got the rest of his equipment to set up the tower, and he's going to go out to where the hole was, plant that, and try and come back in. So I think I should roll to see how successfully I do the tower.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Is that how we clock overtime, Chris? It's when the lid clicks back on the helmet, you're clocking overtime.
So Chris, you've got a 6 on that, which is and on a 6, what you do is you get a little insight into the weirdness. And what can we give you? I think what happens is, you know that feeling that sometimes you look down into the rock and you can see down into it. You look down and you can see kind of these body-like shapes, sometimes like the curve of a human body, and just for a moment you see something which you are convinced is a human hand deep beneath the rock.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna be a little bit freaked out by this, and I'm gonna go back in, and I'm gonna be like, guys, there's definitely something living in underneath the crust of this thing, or whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I mean, Rock Girl, if you could tell us something more about what's going on here. I'm seeing things, or there's definitely something alive under there, and it better not be the last guys that get sent here.
I see him on a little screen, the CCTV screen. So I'm in a different room. I'm over in the med bay, and I'm gonna like hit him on the radio, like.
Actually, can we just, sorry to interrupt, Oliver, but
Yeah.
Just for a moment, Chris, what does your character look like when he sees this thing? What is Miguel seeing on his view screen?
So literally, like, so to set up the tower, I have to put it down, and then the legs kind of come out, and it's as if the body's floating in this green misty abyss, kind of like the rock is like kind of like water, sea colored towards the top, and I just see this like dark hand emerge up as if to grab my leg, and I just jump up into the air.
So Miguel, what you see is him sort of jumping back for some reason.
So I'm gonna hit the radio, like, Dean, what is it? What is it, Dean?
There's something out here that's just tried to grab me, and I'm hoping that it's not the last people that were here, because remember the other people, they didn't make back, and my stuff got sucked into the rock, and I'm not a smart guy. 2 + 2 = 4 though, and I know facts, and facts means that I want to.
Miguel types a couple of commands into a computer, and then he runs a diagnostic through the suit on Dean, and he sees that his heart rate's really, really high, and he's like, Dean, you need to calm down. Come in here. I'm going to give you a sedative. You've just got a little bit of space madness. It's your first time up here. You need to just chill. Come in the med bay. Come and see me. I'm going to give you a sedative and calm you down.
I'll fucking give you a sedative. I'll be in a minute, though.
There's not something in the rock. You've just got a little bit of space madness. It's your first time up here, man. You're going to be okay. Just come to med bay. Let me give you a sedative.
Reluctantly, Dean, feeling disregarded, just saunters in, chucks his gear off, like doesn't put it away, just chucks it off, and then starts to saunter towards the med bay.
Good with me. Emily, I just want to check in on you, because you haven't had to go in a while. What's going on with Emily at the moment?
I was going to run a deeper scan so I get more information, because the organic nature of it is a little curious. I don't think it's like off-putting, because I know that crystals can form organically, like kidney stones and things like that. So I just want to gather if this is maybe from an organism, or if it is in fact like a living entity itself.
Yeah, you can definitely. Yeah, okay. So I think that's 2 dice, unless you want to add your change dice, in which case it's 3.
So I rolled it earlier, so it was a 5 and a 3.
5. Okay, fantastic. All right. What can I give you here? Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, the rock structure is organic. It resembles an organic compound in some way. I think what you see is that as you're looking at it, you can just see it growing, just under the microscope, and you'll have it in some sort of, I don't know, like a petri dish or something. You can see the petri dish just beginning to turn to the rock as well.
So I'm gonna go over to the med bay as well with these findings. But while I'm walking over there, I'll just announce it over the comm. Hey everybody, can we meet in the med bay? I think I found something that might help us a little bit.
Sure. And when I'm already like opening a jar of sedatives with shaking hands and having the first couple for myself.
Space madness? Really?
So what, all of you now in the med bay?
I guess.
It sounds as though all of you were. I mean, you don't have to be. I don't.
Well, I called Dean to come to the med bay, and
Yeah, I guess
Cassidy
we're all
was at
gonna
the
be-
med bay because I was going to examine that arm. Yeah, we're all in the med bay now, I think.
All right, so I'll leave you to talk.
Well,
Oh.
Cassidy,
Go
Cassidy.
ahead.
First of all, Cassidy, let me get a look at that arm. I need to clean that wound. That stuff's real serious trouble if you get that in your bloodstream.
Hey, look, maybe it's nothing, but I'm sure my suit flashed up some kind of medical report. It said something about people that get this stuff on them. There's no cure. What do you think that means? What does it mean, man?
It means I have to perform surgery on you, and you're not gonna like it.
What do you mean surgery? It's just a bit of work. Just pull it out with tweezers or something. Will you? What?
And no, if that's in your bloodstream, I'm gonna have to amputate your hand.
In my bloodstream? What that?
Now. I mean, you're gonna have to lie down on this table now, and I start getting a local anaesthetic out and pulling that.
Oh, wait a minute. This is bullshit. This is a joke, right? You're just fucking with me, aren't you?
No, I'm serious, man. It's gonna kill you. You're gonna die if I don't operate now. You saw the report.
What he's saying is, yeah, you should listen because
you read the same report
in a petri dish.
Yeah, you need to lie down now. In fact, while I'm looking at his arm and while he's talking to someone else or distracted, I'm just gonna go and put a sedative into his arm, and he's gonna start. I'm try and catch him gently onto the bed.
This is brilliant. Cassidy, are you going to let him put a sedative into your arm?
I'm assuming after Emily was talking, I was looking at her kind of wide-eyed when she mentions the petri dish and the thing growing in it. That I didn't even notice when Miguel steps up and.
Yeah, I mean that's really good to me. So, and is it strong enough so he will go under, Miguel?
Yeah, so I have to catch him and like let him fall onto the bed so he doesn't like totally fall and hurt himself. Yeah, it's a knockout sedative. It's a local anaesthetic. Sorry, a general anaesthetic. The other one, Ryan.
Yeah.
General anaesthetic.
Yeah. And so you will just get this feeling, Cassidy, that of time slowing down and then almost stopping, but not quite, just moving very, very slowly.
Okay, I'm gonna make a roll as well. Sorry.
Yeah, that sounds great.
For your own good, mate.
Oh my god.
That's good. How are we doing for change scores at the moment? Do you want
I
to just
am
tell
on
me?
3, but I think I'm going to roll one for the realisation that I'm going to have to amputate this man's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to roll another one. But I'm on 3. Just quick rules check, Graham. I was on 3 before and I rolled 3, and it's your score or under and you don't go up 1. So 3 stays on 3, right?
That's right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to do another one anyway. For that realisation. Oh, I've got one. Nice.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with cutting your hand off.
Yeah, of course you are. You're a doctor. It's no problem.
It's your job. It is what you have to do.
It is my job, yeah. Bit nervous. It's going to be my first amputation on a live human.
Now, can I just ask you something as players? Because I'm just trying to work out in my head how I'm going to run this. Do you guys think you are going to go to sleep tonight, which is what Extractor wants to do, or do you think you're not?
Right now, my character in the moment doesn't have any plans on going to sleep tonight. He's got to make
Yep.
sure that this man doesn't die, and we get this infection out of. We currently have a killer infection in us, and no, I've got no plans to sleep tonight. My plan is to get rid of that.
Well, I mean, you'll do that once you've amputated his hand, so you know that will be gone, and you'll be able to. Yeah, okay.
But there's
I'm
no
gonna sleep.
there's no thought about it right now.
Okay, that's fine. Nice. Okay, well, all right. So Cassidy, you're under, and are we going to amputate his hand?
I'm going to attempt to amputate the man's hand at the elbow. Because you said it was on the wrist, right? And I want to make sure it's been in you long enough that it's probably going to be even a waste of time, man. It's probably killed you already. You're probably already dead. But
You know, I'm really glad that you knocked him out before saying that.
yeah, so I'm gonna go like halfway up the arm to try and get as much of it out as I can. I'm not going here. I'm going here. Boom.
You don't want to go up to the shoulder?
Can I give you a
Sure.
She makes a good point.
Yeah. Dude,
It
just
was growing at a pretty decent rate.
It's been some time. No, I'm gonna like he's nervous as hell. He's gonna hedge his bet on the elbow and he's gonna amputate this man's elbow. Yeah. Attempt to.
Yeah, definitely. Emily, Dean, what are you doing during this?
I'm probably just gonna take the sedatives and leave, and try and get some sleep because my job's done for the day. So, as far as I'm concerned, I should have been knocked off hours ago. I'm freaked out, but I've been told by the medical officer that I'm okay. I've just got a bit of madness. They're talking about weird rock stuff. I don't know anything about that. I'm just gonna take my sedatives and try to go to sleep.
Leave it to the
definitely.
comms guy to go to sleep. I'll probably run some tests to see if there's any solvent or heat or cold or any, kind of characteristics of the rock that it might be a little bit more like slower pace of growth or halting growth or anything like that.
Like if you cool it down, it stops it growing so fast or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. Okay. Should we do the amputation first? So, do you want to roll to amputate his hand at the wrist?
So I guess I'm rolling 3d6 here
Gilbert.
because it's
yeah.
an everything roll. It's my medical speciality, and I'm cutting a goddamn human's arm off. I'm really not happy about that. So that's a change roll as well. So 3d6.
gonna keep the change die separate, just so that you can.
Oh right, yeah. So I'll roll
Yeah.
2d6
Yeah.
plus 1d6 change. So the first two are the everyday and medical. The last one should be the change. This should work.
That's it. All right. Yeah, so your change is not high. and
Yeah, the
you've rolled a
change is the
6
5. So the
there.
6 is on the medical.
Yeah, that's really nice.
My change is still higher than my score, so I still go up 1 to 4.
All right. So there's almost this feeling of time slowing for you, right, as the knife comes down and yeah, you successfully amputate his arm at the wrist, and then you run a test to see if the rock spread anywhere else, and you don't know, right? Have you done enough? Should you have been braver and amputated the shoulder? And just for a moment, you know what the future holds for Cassidy. You can visualize what this rock does. So, like, if this rock changes other substances, which is what Emily says it does, this rock is going to get inside Cassidy's bloodstream. It's going to change. It's going to change him to the rock, and And he's not going to die. He's just going to exist very, very slowly, as though he was just trapped in time. And you know with absolute certainty that's what's going to happen to Cassidy.
I just realised what Chris saw as well. Wow. I'm not going to tell him. I don't know how I'm going to tell him. I'm going to encourage him to stay here for close study and just let me keep an eye on him.
Sounds good. And so he's it's now amputated. He appears to be stable, apart from the fact he has rock in his bloodstream and he's not going to survive. But apart from that, he's stable. What does Miguel do after this?
Miguel's going to take some more sedatives, pace the room frantically, and try to work out what he's going to tell Cassidy, how he's going to tell the man that he's doomed to die in a very grisly, horrible way. Or not die, not even die. It's not even necessarily death, but something worse, maybe even.
No, it's like a very, very slow life. Yeah. Cool. You've taken a lot of sedatives, by the way, but how are you still awake?
Yeah, I guess he's going to crash out at some point too, and crash out hard, because he's just double dunted some sedatives.
Yeah.
And he's been up to here as well for a long time, running about, worrying about everybody. He's done his first ever amputation. This was all on. He's buzzing from adrenaline, and he's got that mix of the sedatives and the adrenaline. And now that the adrenaline's dipped, those sedatives have just taken over. He's going to hit the deck. Yeah. Probably fall asleep on the floor of the med bay.
Yeah.
Medical officer, but I bet that definitely helped with that surgery. Being so drugged up.
Sure helped me.
At least his hands weren't shaking, at least. Would have been a very ragged cut.
Brew, I just want to come to you, because everyone else is asleep, actually, now. You answered my question about whether you're going to sleep. You're all asleep. Emily, what's Emily doing?
She's going to be running those tests, so I'm just going to try and take that sample that we initially got and section it into different petri dishes so I can see if heat affects it, cold, any kind of solvent, anything that we can maybe use to help treatments in case we do get cut by it again.
Give me a roll. I mean, I you can guess what the answer to this is, but give me a roll and let's see what you find out. Oh, that's a 6. Okay.
Oh dear.
So you're looking at this thing and you're trying to work out what the treatment is, and nothing you're trying is working, right? And you're beginning to believe that actually there is no treatment to this. You're starting to realize, I think, what Miguel realized, this idea that actually this stuff isn't going to kill you, it's just going to keep you very, very slowly alive. You can feel, you can feel, for you, Emily, time slowing down. Imagine you lived at the speed a rock lives at. Imagine sort of thousands, millions of years, and just passing very, very, very slowly. And just, I think what comes into Emily's mind at the moment, as she does that, maybe is, and she'd be trapped on this rock forever. And you remember that fear Emily has that she'll never amount to anything? Yeah. She would just be trapped here without ever having anyone ever noticing her.
I'm gonna go wake up Dean.
No, that sounds really good. Before you do, I'm just going to come to the others. So you guys descend into sleep, and you dream, and let's just leave it there. Let's just pause there for a moment, because apart from anything else, I need 5 or 10 minutes, and then we can come back and do some dreams. Is that okay?
Yeah, take a break.
Okay, so you guys fall asleep and you dream, and again there's that feeling of time slowing, sort of hours lengthening into weeks, years, thousands of years, millions of years. And let's start with you, Miguel. So I just want Miguel wakes up and feels himself in space, and he is the asteroid, or he's part of the asteroid.
Also, that feeling he's had of it all his life, of how short a human life is and how impending death is, has just flipped totally round on him, and now he's got this fear of existence, that existence is the worst thing that could possibly happen to him now, that he's going to just exist forever for nothing and have no feelings, nothing good about existing, that it's just going to be a torturous, painful existence that's going to drag on forever. And
Yeah.
he's
And that's what it feels like, right? That you're trapped and you're living very, very slowly. But when you try to scream, all that comes out is this sort of slow murmur.
like when you try to run or punch someone in a dream.
Yeah.
You're punching through water. His whole life's just turned into that, but slowed down 10,000 times.
Mm. And then we do make change rolls, by the way, if any of this is freaky. And then Cassidy. I think Cassidy will do something similar, but Cassidy will be sort of at the heart of the rock, and just embedded in the rock, looking up through the sort of light refracting through this violet glassy rock.
Yeah, and he remembers the question that he was asked when he was on his way here about how it would feel to live forever. And he's right. It's terrifying. But not in the way he thought it was going to be frightening. I mean, he knows he's going to live forever, but he thought that the upside to it would that he would know everything, but he's not going to know anything. He's going to be just here. It's going to be exactly no change. Nothing is going to change. He's going to be just this rock forever, like staring out into space. And yeah, I think he's going to make a roll.
Dean dreams that he's floating in space very, very, very slowly. And he's just not in his suit at all. You can just see the ice forming on his fingertips.
Dean does not like this at all. He's kind of like freaking out, as in like when he's sleeping, he's twitching and like trying to move, but kind of more in a trance, probably the drugs that he's been given. But yeah, let's roll.
So it just ticks up by 1. So yeah, you roll a 6 and your change score ticks up by 1. And just staying with Dean for a moment. So he's you said he's freaking out, but he can't breathe. And he can't, he tries to breathe and he can't. Like he's in space.
This is kind of like his deepest fear, and he can't understand how he's still conscious and how he hasn't imploded in space. Like, what kind of force is binding him still together.
Yeah.
And I think even going even deeper into that, yeah, easy. I'm gonna roll again. I'll have
Yeah.
to.
And he's starting to suffocate now because he cannot get any air.
I think the heart rate of suffocation, like it's just gonna start to stop, and he's gonna feel as if he's dying. Um,
Yeah.
choking, trying to clasp at his throat, but like his hands and arms are probably freezing over, and he can't reach. Um, like, yeah, again, I'm gonna roll.
And you can hear that bleep, bleep, bleep. Let's make it a real thing. So, Chris, I think your insight your change just ticks up to 5. Have I got that right? Or does it tick up to
Yes.
4? Oh, is it up to 5?
Four.
Oh, 4. And you can hear that bleep, 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 almost like a medical monitor. You can just hear this bleep. And then let's have Chris. Let's have Dean wake up. So you wake up and you're there in the comms lab, right, where you get to sleep. And yeah, and Emily is trying to wake you up.
Damn it, Dean, wake up!
Get your hands off me!
Oh, but actually, when you start to speak, Dean, you can't speak. You're still suffocating. Something in your throat. So Emily, he's choking. That bleep, by the way, the bleep bleep bleep, that's coming from the comms console, and we can come back for that. But right to the moment, Dean is choking.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna like Heimlich maneuver or something. I don't know what he could be choking on. So I'm gonna try and
Look.
Heimlich maneuver. Look in his
Yeah.
mouth.
You can you can try and do that. I mean, the Heimlich maneuver isn't particularly going to work.
Oh my
Dean,
god.
did you want to do anything? We can have Miguel and Cassidy. They will come into this shortly, I'm sure. But Dean, what are you doing?
I'm reaching into my mouth to try and like clear whatever's there, or try to reach and grab whatever is blocking this obstruction.
And you can feel it deep within, right? There's something. It's like stone. And as he does that, Emily, you can see the violet glow coming out of his mouth.
This man ate a rock. I'm gonna just try and whack him on the back of the head so he coughs it out.
And it's not coming out, Dean.
Okay, and then I'll reach in and try and grab it.
Okay. Although even as you reach in, right, I mean, this stuff grows. So if this stuff has grown inside him, you can't just...
I don't understand how you would have gotten it though. Like, why is this man eating rocks or something? Like, and I can't like he's dead. I'm gonna look at the comms machine. I can't help him.
Okay. Yeah. There seems to be something blinking. You can see what you'll recognise as a distress beacon. I mean, I think because it says distress beacon in text, and so there is. Dean, you're still choking, but for dramatic purposes, you're welcome to sort of crawl about and kind of do what you want, really. What does Dean want to do?
Like going to like I'm imagining that this station has like a personal area. I'm going to the mirror like bathroom section. I'm clasping on to anything to try and drag myself up to look into the mirror and see if I can like use a razor or something to try and get air into my trachea or something, because I know I need to get air in. So whether or not I'm going from my mouth or my throat, it depends on what I can see from where my mouth is open.
Right. Yeah. Well, so yeah, you can see the violet. You can see the rock in the back of your throat. You can see the violet light coming out, and you're very welcome to roll to give yourself a tracheotomy.
I'm guessing that I'm not going to be proficient in that.
No, you'd really need a medical officer.
Yeah.
Roll for tracheotomy. That was. I wasn't expecting to hear those words.
Self tracheotomy.
Yeah. Using your self tracheotomy skill. I am going to roll against you for this one, actually. So in Cosmic Dark, you can roll. I think it's quite fun if you manage to fail. So
just 1d6 then.
yeah, and unless you want to add your change die, which you can, it'll be a good time to.
Like, I was going to say, I think it's a good time to use it. Like,
let's do 2. Let's do 2.
All right, so that's a 4. I'm going to roll as well. Chris, if you fail this, we're going to put Dean in real trouble. I got a 6.
oh,
So I think I don't know, Chris. Do you want to describe that? And how is he going to fail to give himself a tracheotomy?
Oh, while holding the razor against it, instead of trying to cut straight in because he's choking and can't really restrain himself, doesn't really have proper motor control, he cuts an artery and starts to bleed profusely, grabs onto that while trying to...
Yeah.
So a gargle sound comes from Dean.
Oh, that's so unpleasant. And so, okay, so now, Miguel, Cassidy, I mean, you guys have slowly come into wakefulness. You're still in that sort of sense of unreality, right? I mean, Cassidy, you're on anaesthetic, and Miguel, you're on sedatives, so the world is kind of swimming a bit. But you can hear gurgling and a very loud beeping coming from Dean's quarters.
after a split second, it feels like a lifetime. I'm going to realise that that's Dean's quarters, and that's an alarm sound. And I'm going to, like, oh shit, what's happened to Dean? And I'm going to I'm not going to panic, but my heart rate's racing, and I'm going to be like, what am I going to see when I go in there?
Yeah.
But reluctantly, I'm going to head towards Dean's quarters.
Yeah. Emily, just come back to you for a moment. You were looking at the distress beacon, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
Okay. Well, there seems to be some distress. I mean, you could use a comms unit, I would think. I mean, to some extent. So, all right, there seems to be something flashing saying distress beacon.
Do I gather that that's the distress beacon from the tower that Dean put up, or from this ship itself?
You've been picked up by the tower that Dean put up, but it's not the distress beacon.
Okay.
If you want to roll and see what you can find out, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and roll and see if there's a way to communicate with the greater ship too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. You've rolled a 6, and I was just thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do if she rolls a 6. Okay. The distress beacon is coming from what looks like an extracts a living pod. Another one. And you can find the location. It's about sort of an hour across the asteroid if you wanted to check out and get it. Oh, I have just realised what I'm going to give you. It's also automatically detected human life. And so it is detecting people living within that living pod an hour away. And there's faint signs of human life from all over the asteroid. All of it. Coming from beneath you. Just everywhere.
Is there a way to use comms to communicate with that other pod or the greater ship at all?
Yeah, you can try and do either. What do you want to do?
Seeing as how I'm getting a sense of living beings all over the planet and the planet itself, I'm going to try and do it to the greater ship.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll come back to you doing that in a moment. Dean, you're passed out in a bloody way on the floor. Cassidy, are you getting up as well? What are you doing?
I imagine Cassie tries to get off the bed, goes to lean, without, and basically misses his arm. He hasn't got an arm. He misses, rolls off of the trolley, off of the bed, and collapses in a heap on the floor. And I'm calling up, Miguel, help!
Rushing over. Back that way to him.
Oh, so Miguel, are you rushing over to Dean's quarters?
I was, and then I heard him
Okay.
crash and fall, and I skid and stopped, and start running that way.
All right, so Cassidy's on the floor.
I'm Cassidy, what are you doing, man? Get up. There's something up with Dean, come on. And I start pulling him up.
Okay. At this point, I think Cassidy realizes he's missing an arm. And looking down at it, dumbstruck, I just say, "What did you do to me? What did you do to me?"
I lie to him and I say, "I saved your life, man. I got the infection from the stone out of you, man. That was your only chance, and we need you to get out of here, man. There's the rock is living and it's gonna eat us, man. It's a suicide mission. We need to get off this rock immediately. I've saved your life. I'm sorry you lost your arm, but it was that or your whole life." And he's lying because I know you're dead. In fact, I'm gonna make a change roll for lying to this man. Lying to this man that I've saved his life.
Yeah, I've just made one. Okay. Still under the influence of the sedatives, I guess. Cassidy just collapses to his knees, and he's crying. His tears rolling down his face as he collapses onto the floor. In disbelief.
That's okay. We'll just remember that there's a loud beeping coming from Dean's quarters, which you're totally welcome to ignore. I mean, very happy for you to,
I was going to say,
carry on
if
doing this.
he's up to his knees, and I know he's not like hurt his head and concussed himself or anything, I'm back on.
Yeah.
I've turned round again. I'm back running towards the beeping.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do Emily, just you for a moment. And so just to be clear, Emily is sort of almost like zoned out of Dean, there was something going on in the bathroom. You're not really sure.
Yeah, I rolled the change die because I heard the gargle probably, but it could be that he got it out. It could be that he died, but I'm just gonna assume he was dying anyway. So
Mouthwash.
Yeah. Okay. And so you're using the comms unit, right?
Yep, I'm gonna try and contact the ship.
Great. Okay. And so you have the location of the other living pod. If you want it at the moment, you contact the ship. Cool. Oh, sorry, that was your role, wasn't it? 2.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I haven't said this yet, but you are always welcome to re-roll in this game. I don't think it's going to do very much good in this circumstance, but you're welcome to re-roll, providing you include your change die. Right, so you get through to the exchange, and it's a bit distant and crackly, but you get a voice speaking almost too fast, too slowly for you to hear. But it says, sorry, too fast for you to hear, and it says, "Good to hear from you, associate. So you've been gone several days. How are things going down there?"
Several days. We've just been down here for one night, but I need like an evacuation pod, please. It is not good on the surface. We have a sample, but what we're dealing with down here is not good. I repeat, we need probably some medical team on board, and we need to be evacuated immediately.
You have a medical officer there, Emily. I suggest you report to him.
No, I know that. It's bigger than one person, though, is what I'm telling you. We need.
Well, if there are any issues, raise them through your medical officer. In the meantime, you have your operational instructions. I'm sorry if things are distressing for you, Emily.
Okay, these people aren't doing anything for me. So I'm gonna now go check on Dean.
And so let's coordinate this so we can have both Emily and Miguel arriving at the same time. Dean is lying on the floor. He's apparently slashed his throat with a razor. He's bled out all over the floor. So I mean, Miguel, I don't know. You know, you've seen blood before, but I don't if you've ever seen a self-inflicted wound with blood. I mean, it's an arterial wound, right?
Well,
It will have spurted up the wall. Imagine blood all over the.
I was worried about what was going to happen, and I made a change roll, and I succeeded. I'm going to make another one on the realization that he's committed suicide, because that's what it looks like to me. The man's just thought, it's so bleak, I'm just going to cut my throat, and that's what it looks like. Like, I don't realize what's actually happened. I just think this man's thought, fuck it, he killed himself, and I'm going to roll. Ah, that's a 5. I am now up to 5 on my change dice. My changed score. You too.
And you as well, Emily.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right. He is faintly still alive at the moment, Miguel.
Oh, yes. Right, as soon as we realise that, I'll rush over and hands over the wound. Someone help me, I'm shouting. I need something to tie this wound. And I'm like ripping off. I've got underwear, just like an undershirt on, I suppose. I was sleeping, I ripped the sleeve off. Start trying to dress this wound in the most fastest, rudimentary way possible, I guess. I will make a roll to do that with my medical. And I think it might be a good chance to use all 3. Use my... Ooh, no, that's dangerous on a 5, isn't it? I'm trying to save a man's life, though.
Odds are in your favor, though.
I'm going for it, right? So I'm rolling 2d6 plus 1d6 again.
Yeah.
So this is to do everything, the specialization because it's medical, and then yeah, he's fucked up trying to kill himself, and I've got a chance to save him. I'm rolling the change dice as well. This could be the end of me as well, guys. It's not.
Okay, so that's a 3. So yes, you can bind his wounds, you can stabilize him, and you will also realize that he can't breathe at the moment. There's a violet light coming out of his mouth, and he's he has rock in his mouth, which perhaps was why he tried to kill himself.
So can I finish what he's started? Can I try to get this thing out of his throat then?
Yeah, I mean, well, how? This isn't a very normal medical procedure. I mean, how would you have to clear the blockage in some way? I mean, how would you do that?
I am going to the hole that he's used, not going to...
Oh, sorry, do a tracheotomy. Yeah, you can do that.
I'm going to make a proper tracheotomy. I'll just take a scalpel and just go and make a proper one, and so that he can breathe at least, and then I'm just going to try and, whether it's through the wound he's made, whether it's through his mouth, through another hole at the other side, I'm going to try and get the blockage out. But I'll do a tracheotomy first so he can breathe.
That's good. Well, let's do a roll for the whole medical thing. And how are you going to try and get the rock out? Hold off the roll just for a moment. You might have made the roll, but
not yet.
Okay, so how are you going to get the rock out?
So might end them anyway, but I think we're all ended anyway. So I'm going to do a tracheotomy on the one on the side that's clean, and then I'm going to go in on the side where it's not clean, and I'm going to open, being very careful not to get the throat, the spinal cord, or any of this stuff. Now Oliver's not medically trained, so I don't know where these things are, but this character is medically trained. He's going to slice between them and make a big open slice, and he's going to pull it open and just try and reach his hand in and grab it out with his fist.
Deeply unpleasant.
Very.
Yeah. I mean, I think as you do that, you'll realise it's not particularly shifting. I mean, you know, to get rid of rock, you're going to need geological equipment or mining equipment, or you're going to have to cut a lot of the surrounding flesh out. So, you know, there's 3 options.
Well, I'm no geologist or any miner, so he's going to just...
I mean, fortunately, there's one in the room, but,
yeah,
you know...
I can assist.
Can she assist me? I'm happy to just take the scalpel and try to make the wound a bit wider, like, in for a penny, in for a pound. If you can get some mining equipment in there, I'll hold the wound open.
That's much better than the idea that first came to mind, which was just trying to like blow it out.
You say that. You say that until you bring out the big drill.
Yeah, so I need
some
more
DIY dentistry.
any more precision instruments that I have to help remove rock from the throat.
And I'm just holding them open, like.
Oh god.
Yeah. All right. So you have something, Emily, which, I mean, it's not perfect and it's risky, but you could try and break down the rock from the inside. I'm going to roll a failure die against you on this, so I can see the roll. Cool. All right. So that's your roll. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And I can see your roll as well, Emily. I'm going to roll a failure die. Chris, if this fails, I think we're going to let Dean die. Cool.
I die.
He dies, he dies.
I've rolled a 2.
Ooh. You live!
So good. Yeah.
For now.
You live for now.
So, Emily, do you want to just describe that? I mean, how do you manage to dislodge the rock?
Yeah, so I imagine it's kind of like a Dremel tool or something, so I'm just gonna go in.
Yeah.
There's blood splattering back on me, probably some rock shards going everywhere. So we're probably all dead at this point, but I'm just gonna try and like clear it, make the hole wider and wider until it starts to expose the inside of his trachea. Probably damage that a little bit because I'm not a medical professional. But I want to ensure that I get all of the rock out.
Yeah, you can definitely, break the rock down enough so we can start breathing, and then you can remove it, and then I guess Miguel, you're patching him up, are you?
Yeah, well, I was holding the wound open while she did that. As soon as she gets that out and he's breathing again, I'm going to close that wound up and try to patch him up, stitching him up. Yep.
Sounds good. Cool. All right. Okay. I almost want to, unless there's anything else anyone wants to do tonight, I almost want to cut forward to the next morning. I don't know if you particularly have to sleep very much, but and then we can sort of decide next steps. Is that okay, or was there something that someone desperately wanted to do?
I think I just want to inform them that the distress beacon and what the findings were with that, and that the ship was not of help.
Yeah, so I would be suggesting we try to call in the ship for an evacuation, but then I'm going to learn she's tried it and it's not happened. So I guess I'm just going to fall into a bleak depression and just sleep because there's nothing else. It's just sleep and wait for death, I think, or this fate worse than death.
Sounds good. Where did you leave Dean?
On the floor.
No, we would have picked him up and took him to a bed.
Med bay, maybe?
Med bay, yeah.
Probably med bay, so he can.
Surely.
Picked him outside.
Dean, so you wake up and you're in med bay.
Well, can't communicate anymore, and that's out the window. So I'm a comms officer who can't speak, which is irony in itself.
Actually, Chris, just to check in with you, I mean, we can fix things so Dean can speak if you like, or do you want to play a silent character for the rest of the game? I don't mind either way.
I think it's a bit befitting that he can't speak, but he'll find another way to communicate. There's computers, there's other things that he can use, pens, paper. This exists. But when Dean wakes up, he doesn't want to go back to sleep. The first thing that he's going to do is try and contact other forms of life, because he remembers the distress signal. So he's gonna want to try and contact the other pods.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, so do you want to go to the comms equipment, basically?
Pretty much, yeah.
You can give me a roll to contact the other pods if you like. Cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, you can locate the other pod. I mean, it's you do a sort of standard ping, and it will send a standard ping back. It's an old extractor living pod of 50 or 60 years old, a sort of old model, similar to yours, but much older. No one human is responding to you. I mean, there's signs of life in the pod, but you'd have to go over and find out what's happening.
Okay. So there's no. Can I use the network to access logs or any of that information?
Oh, yeah, you can absolutely do that. Let's come back to you in a moment, though. So, Cassidy, what's happening with you?
I guess by the morning, some of the sedatives will have worn off. So I'll be sitting up on my bed as perhaps Dean kind of wakes up.
Yeah, that's good.
We probably don't say much to each other, maybe. I don't know. As he wanders off into the comm suite.
Well, I'm actually just wondering. Oh, sorry. Well, so I'm wondering, why don't we bring you all together, actually, rather than sort of playing out lots of individual scenes. So, so shall we have you at? I don't think any of you guys have eaten, so shall we have you in the communal area the next morning, and you can just sort of arrive when you want, and we can do what you want from there.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm spoon feeding Cassidy's breakfast because it was his right arm I cut off. And he just can't work it out with his left hand. The spoon keeps going upside down, and the cereal and the milk's just falling off. So I'm having to do it for him. Like, look, mate, you'll learn to use your left hand. At least you're alive.
Yeah. I'll just be saying, I'm sorry what I said last night. Thanks for all you did.
I'm sorry it came to that, man, but it is what it is. That was a fast spreading virus inside your blood. I had to cut it off as quick as possible, man.
Yeah, I know. I guess we'll all be leaving now, right? What with? I mean, Dean looks like crap.
Well, I just forgot her name. Was it Emily? Made a distress call for an evacuation, and they're not.
Oh, they're coming, right?
No, they're not coming, man. They told her, sorry, it's distressful, the mission. Sorry, it's difficult. And that's it, man.
Difficult? Did you tell them? I'm looking at Emily. Did you tell them? Did you tell them what happened? Did you?
I'm looking at Emily also.
Well, how do you explain something like that over radio? I told them we had a sample. I told them we needed a whole medical team down here. Like, this is way bigger than us. And I don't think maybe they do know, and maybe that's why they're refusing to bring more people down here. I don't know. Dean, you...
Dean's
Rock
looking.
got your throat.
Hmm.
Dean's looking over to Miguel at the food packets that we have, and is pretty much just like signing that.
Yeah, so you can't eat, so we're gonna have to give you a tube
Intravenous.
in your
Introvert it.
stomach. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sort something out here. Come on.
So I'll, because you were just giving me sign, I start signing back, and then I'm like, yeah, sorry, Dina, yeah, I understand. We're gonna need to feed you. I'm gonna need to put a tube down your throat. Yeah, man. Once I finish with Mr. Handy over here, I'll help you out with that.
I'll grab a sheet of paper and a pencil for Dean as well as a means of communication.
So I guess once I've spoon-fed Mr. One Hand, I'm gonna feed him with a pipe down his throat.
Well, I'm just protesting this whole time. But what are they expecting us to do? We can't work like this. What the hell? We've got a comms guy that can't speak, a mining engineer that's missing an arm. What are we even supposed to be doing? We can't do any work down here.
Well, technically,
Dean-
the only thing we haven't done is find a suitable space to drive the mining shaft. We've done everything else. If we maybe get that done, we can ask to go back, but they're not having us back until we complete our mission.
What about the other pod that's not far across the asteroid? Maybe they're there because that was a good spot. Maybe they've got a good vein of the mineral there. Maybe we should check there.
They had a distress beacon though, and nobody's responded to comms. Like, I think we've seen what this planet is, or asteroid is capable
I
of.
think the people there are all dead. There's no living people there, but maybe they were in the right location. Write it down, man. Write it down.
Yeah.
They're not dead. Life signs everywhere. There's life signs everywhere, but no response. And that's just, I keep writing that over and over again.
Even the planet is giving life signs though, like it could just be rock in that pot.
Maybe you're just reading it wrong.
They're dead, or they may as well be. What they are is what is worse than dead. They're a part of the rock. The rock is. What's the word I'm looking for? It's absorbed.
Absorbed them.
Absorbed them. Yeah, I kept thinking absolved. It's not absorbed. The rock has absorbed these people, and if we don't find a location for the company to drill, if we don't find that drill shaft site and get out of here, we're gonna end up just like them, and we are here forever.
I mean, it's possible they made more progress than us, and if we go there, we gain something by it, but
Wait. You're saying that this thing is alive? This whole planetoid is alive?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna want us digging big holes in it and sticking mining equipment in there?
Absolutely not. We need to find the spot and then tell them we found it and get out of here. There's no way we can leave this place if we start to drill it. It will devour us.
it doesn't say we have to drive it. It just says find a suitable space to drive it. So if we just give them a spot.
If we find the right location, maybe they will get us out of here and let us off this rock.
Why don't we just lie? Just lie.
Well,
Tell him anywhere. Tell him anything.
well, to me it looks like the whole
I
thing,
write dig here in big capital letters. Just dig here.
the whole it's one big mass of it. The whole thing is one living organism. I don't think it matters where they dig. I think you're right, yeah. I think we do just tell them dig here. Maybe.
Well, how
I
are they
don't know.
gonna I mean, when I proposed sending a medical team down here, they wanted to clear it through the medical officer. How are they gonna clear anything through our comms tech if our comms tech can't talk?
What am I supposed
what
to
if
clear?
they-
You want me to clear
Email.
the medical team down here? If I'm clearing anything, I'm clearing us off this rock. If I'm in charge, if I get to make any orders, if you're clearing things with me, we're getting off this thing. But no, they're not going to let me make that call. We need to tell them we found a drill site. We need to report mission complete to get out. It's the only way we're gonna get out of here.
So we're going to make a report, and it's just going to have our signatures on it, Emily. That's all.
It's lie or die.
All right.
I'll
So
look
what are you
over-
going to do?
Look over at Dean. To see if he's nodding or shaking sideways.
Dean wants to go to that comms room. He wants to see what's going on elsewhere. See if he can get some reports and also send a report back to excavation.
Extractor.
Extractor.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do all that. So the comms station is there, and you can use it. So you send the report to Extractor. It's apparently gets through. There's no immediate response. And what do you want to do with the the distress beacon and everything?
Well,
Or whatever. And what else did you want to do at the comm station?
I want to find out if there's logs from the other
Sure.
other units that are around the pods, like last date, like what strategic date, like, or sorry, what calendar date they've arrived, and like since we've had the experience of being here for one night and been told that it's been a few days, how many days have others been here?
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. All right. You've rolled a 6 for that, haven't you?
Mhm.
Okay. You can find logs from this from this living pod. It was set up about sort of 50 or 60 years ago. They lived here for a year or two, and there were the same sort of reports about sort of equipment slowly turning to rock. And then the final logs are sort of diaries of the workers who just slowly died. Their living pod, well, you don't think it became rock, but the rock crept off the sides of the living pod. There's reports of sort of entire hands and limbs turning to rock, and just their vital signs slowing down.
Okay, so I found a bell to attract attention. I'm using that, and I'm tapping the screen to get everyone to come and have a look, or making crackling on the radio, ringing a bell. That's their signal to come in. We discussed this earlier, over breakfast. So I want to share this information with them by them reading it, because me writing it out again would be, redundant. And then I inform them that I've let everyone know, and that I think that our medical officer Miguel should get in contact with the ship and let them know that we need more equipment. That might perhaps get a team here, and then we can use that as an excuse for extraction.
You're just typing that into a screen now rather than writing it all out.
Yeah. Well, writing it out to screen, whatever way you want it communicated to you.
Dean, is there any way for you to know whether Extractor received these logs from the earlier team?
Well, from what I can tell, they've been here 50 years, so I probably point at like how long they've been here, their vital signs, and I'm indicating that pretty much everyone here one-way street. There doesn't seem to be, but I can look. You know, I
Although-
could try.
That's an interesting one because Miguel, if you look at their vital signs, I mean it's hard for you to tell, but you know they do appear to still be breathing. They do appear to still have some sort of heartbeat. Now it's very slow, and whether there's any way back from that, you're not sure. But you're not very familiar with this rock. I mean, it's you don't know what state they're in.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're in a cryostasis, kind of being slowed right down to keep them alive. And I almost feel like they are maybe even an energy source for this living mineral, and that it feeds off people, feeds off other organic matter, and that's what you are once it absorbs you. That's how it feeds. That's what I'm starting to, in fact, I'm going to roll the realization that this thing is eating people, that this living rock eats anything else organic, and that's what, although the company thinks we're being sent to mine it, this rock's bigger and smarter than even the corporation, and it's just trapping food, and we're food. It attracts us in with its rich mineral properties. It's some amazing mineral,
Like a Venus flytrap.
like a Venus.
Are you explaining this to
flytrap.
everyone else?
Yeah, I am actually. He's
Make
thinking
a roll.
he's a nerdy thinking out loud guy. He says it all out loud. Oh, you can all roll.
Also, Dean, I think it's quite likely that you get you get a message back from Extracture. Thank you for the report, and asking you to try for the mining shaft. Even that your instructions didn't technically say drive the mining shaft, but you get an instruction suggesting you should drive the mining shaft.
Oh!
Thank you for your literal reading of the instruction. It doesn't say that, but
Do we really want to?
Just like how they wordplayed our contract of if we were to come back, we would be paid.
Yeah, we get paid if you come
Nah.
back, not when you come
You're
back.
contractually
But-
obliged to extract us now.
So in my fury, I write on my board to sorry. I write on my board to Cassidy. Would you like a hand? With this equipment so we can get this shaft started.
Speak up, I didn't quite catch that.
Triple fight.
Yeah. Yeah, so I see this message, look down at this pile of bandages around my right arm. And I just give the help, yeah, very funny kind of face.
And I just write, if I didn't laugh, we'd cry. So yeah, that's our plan. What do you guys think? Because they're pretty hell bent on us just digging a hole now.
So we have to start this extraction shaft before they're gonna pull us out of here, don't we? I'm gonna make a confession right now. They're not gonna take us out of here. They've got the same link to comms that I have, and I saw your vital signs. You're not gonna make it. I was too late with the amputation, Cassidy. It's gonna consume you, and it's gonna because you're infected. We're all infected. They're not gonna take us out of here. We're gonna be left here to die, man.
Damn you.
It's looking bleak, but I'm making the rolls. Yeah.
Well, they had to send us down here for some reason, right? There's something for them to gain. It's got unique properties to it that slows aging or slows time. So maybe they were looking for something for immortality. Maybe we can say that we found that in our research and we can use that as an upper hand to get off.
Tell them we found a way to safely extract it as well. Lie about that. Say we found a way to safely extract it.
And I can check on the lab to see, where tests like the test that I set up to see if there's anything that we found.
I can implant a clean blood sample from me or you. Or I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to say Dean, because Dean had it in his throat. I don't know if he's clear, but I can put a clear blood sample into the suit's tester. So the suit's got a tester where it actually pricks a little needle inside you in your arm, and that's how it does it once every minute. Just does a little prick, and it's testing you real time, like testing all your vitals.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna set it up so that I'll put a little pod of blood inside the suit and just go pop into somebody's suit and get that fake clean blood.
They probably need evidence that you were infected at some point, so maybe we put your blood in the petri dish that had the rock in it.
Yeah.
Send them the blood sample from that, and then send them your actual sample.
See this? So we'll say we've amputated his arm. I've found a way to, and I'll just lie and I'll say I found the right combination of antibiotic and antiseptic cream that when you suture the wound with this certain stuff, you can actually get rid of the infection, and I've managed to save this man's life. And then we're going to send the fake clean blood sample from his suit to prove, and we're going to try and get us out of here.
Okay. Let's just take a step back. So, I mean, how we get? We're sort of got about an hour more to play, I think. How do you want to end this? Because we can go and drive a mining shaft, or we can. I don't really think Extraxor is going to come to get you, but we can sort of run through a story where you try and get Extraxor to get you off the asteroid. So how, or we could just go into a very bleak ending where you just all decide you're doomed. Where do you want to go?
I for one don't have any hope of Extractor coming to get us.
Yeah,
I think I'm just gonna do what they want us to do, and I'm gonna file my last report portably from my comms unit saying, don't send anyone else, this is suicide. And that's what I'll say in my final report.
Okay, well, if you're going to drive the mining shaft, we should go and drive the mining shaft and then do the final report. I just wanted to make sure we didn't spend 15 minutes sort of playing through rolling to try and get Extraxor out. You know what I mean? So yeah, okay. Am I right then? Is Dean going to go and drive the mining shaft essentially?
That's what I'm aiming for, yeah.
Okay. What would everyone else like to do?
Well, I think there's only one way the company would even consider pulling us back out of here, is if we came back with some of the mineral and made them some profit. So I'm going to help Dean drive the mining shaft.
Cool. Everyone else? I really don't mind what you do. You can do what you want. I just want to sort of coordinate.
I think our only chance is to appease the company and give them something of value. It's a big corporation. We need to just actually get them a sample. We're doomed anyway. I don't think they're going to let any of us off here. We might as well go through the motions, man.
My thought would be that it would be to find out how long it was before the last team stopped sending any messages back, just so we have a rough idea as to how long maybe we have.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you do you want to try and sort of calculate that?
We're trying to extrapolate that from what Dean has found out so far. I guess it's all up on his comm screen or something like that. It was just a case of...
Yeah, so you've got the logs. I mean, Extraxor said they'd be back for you in a year. You would think that, in a year's time, maybe some of you would still be alive, maybe some of you wouldn't.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but then I guess we've got the only thing we've got is to try and create this shaft. We've got no other chance of them coming to get us, and we can assume that the other team didn't manage that.
We could try the fake blood samples thing if they're going to get us. But the only way they're going to come and get us is if we take some of them.
They don't care about us. No. They don't care. They didn't care about the last team either.
Our only chance of them coming to get us, though, is if we dig that shaft.
I got one other thing though. I wouldn't mind going out and taking a look to see whether they drove the shaft themselves. Because if they did and they still weren't collected,
What's the point?
I think that's a good idea, and I can't necessarily let Cassidy beat me in camaraderie, so I'm in for what you guys plan. Gotta be better at everything, right?
All right, so you'll sort of venture forth across the asteroid. So where are you heading, just so I understand?
I guess it's the other hab unit, whatever it was.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. All right, so you I imagine you're sort of hiking across this asteroid, I think. And so you travel. It takes about an hour across this sort of strange, undulating landscape. The more you look out of it, the more it looks like sort of almost like human bodies, like compacted together. And then you come to the top of a ridge, and there you see it ahead of you. It's an old extractor living pod, it's actually a sort of 2-floor thing, and so the bottom floor, the rock seems to have crept up, and so the bottom floor is sort of under the rock, and but the top floor is still there, and so you can essentially walk up the rock to the top floor if you want.
Yeah. Is there a window or a hatch or anything on this?
Somewhere we can get in.
Yeah, sure. Are you looking in through the window? Oh, or you just want to enter, do you?
Well, I think we're going to look in first just to see if there's any sign of life, because if we just pop a window open and there's live people in there, it could be a problem.
We're not expecting to see a sign of life, but you never know.
Yeah.
We weren't
And I think
expecting to get eaten by a rock.
Yeah, before going in, just looking around their camp, is there any obvious signs of a mining shaft that they dug?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Trail out.
Oh, that's interesting. Dean, do you want to roll for that? You're the mining engineer.
Well, that would be me.
Cassidy is.
Oh,
Cassidy,
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, comps. Yeah. Cassidy, do you want to roll to see if there's any signs of mining?
Yeah. I get to roll 2d6 this time.
Come on. Cool.
A 3.
Yeah, you think they did start driving some sort of shaft. Well, actually, you think they've taken a slightly different approach. They've done a mining tunnel, and your suit does sort of link to extractor records, and it will sort of locate that. Yeah, they dug some sort of quarry, which you haven't seen a quarry, and you can't see a quarry at the moment, but there's records of them actually sort of quarrying this stuff for a good few months or so.
Okay. So maybe there's something at the end of the tunnel that we can't see. Maybe they've got a pit at the end of that.
You can't actually see the tunnel at the moment, just to be clear. So maybe it's kind of.
Oh, okay. It's just a record. But yeah, okay. So we've heard that there's a tunnel.
The entrance. Yeah.
Was there any
Cool.
indication as to like coordinates for the entrance to the tunnel, or where the quarry was itself? Is it
Not the
close
entrance.
by?
You can get the coordinates for the quarry, and you can get the coordinates for where the tunnel was going. Was someone looking into the habitat, by the way?
We looked in before we went in. We looked into the.
Well, we haven't gone in yet. Yeah, yeah.
So if you look through the windows, you can see that it's lit inside by this sort of glowing violet rock. The rock has sort of crept up, and it's lining the edges. I mean, imagine the way like dust would build up over years and years, or debris or something. So all the corners are sort of lined in this rock. It's crept along. Mold is another good way to think about it. So it's sort of crept along the ceiling as well. And you can look in, and you can't instantly see anyone, but you can see sort of mining equipment, much of which has turned to rock itself. You can see offices where there's papers, some of which have turned to rock and some of which haven't.
But no sign of any people though.
You can't see any from looking in a few windows.
Okay.
If you want to systematically look in all the windows, you can, or you can go in, or do what you want.
I'm not expecting to see anybody alive in here anyway. I don't think it's gonna. Well, saying that, we know that they are alive in a strange sense, but I don't think we're gonna kill them by opening the window. Opening the door to go in, I mean. You know what I mean? We're not gonna...
Yep.
The atmosphere, it's not gonna be a thing.
So are you opening the door to go in?
Yeah.
Did I interpret? Yeah.
I think
right.
once,
So
once you change
you
into
open a
this
door.
rock, you live in the same atmosphere that it does. I don't think opening the door to this place, like getting the fake oxygen out of the habitat's going to kill anyone.
No. And there will be a sort of airlock device as well, so that you can get through the door without releasing all the oxygen. All right. So you are in. This one's like a corridor, and there is offices and some of the storage rooms with the mining equipment that you've seen to the sides. There are offices you haven't peeked in yet, so you can go and look at those. And there's also a sort of a ladder at the end, which leads down to the bottom there. And here there's a. Maybe you noticed this, or maybe you all noticed a bit. There's a sort of murmuring sound, a very deep murmuring sound, and it's like there's a wind coming at you.
Murmuring sound. Does it sound like a human murmur, like a voice?
Would you like to roll?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it does. Well, it doesn't. Do you want to run a little scan? Actually, you can do a quick sort of sound thing on your suit's computer. It's like not one human murmuring, but dozens of humans murmuring, and as though they're screaming all at once, and though it's been just slowed down to a crawl. And that's what the murmur is.
And that's me on 6.
Oh shit.
Okay. That's amazing. Do you want to? Yeah. So tell me what happens to Miguel.
I mean, it's the end of me, and it's absolute insanity. He realizes that the only escape from this, from being part of this voice, one of these voices, is to take his own life right now. And he's going to pull a scalpel from a medical bag, and he's just going to line it up with his eye just right in front of everyone. He's not going to say a parting word to anyone, and he's just going to hold it, line it up with his eye, and just go.
Oh.
And attempt to end his own life by impaling himself in the eye with a scalpel.
What's everyone else think? Is he going to catch everyone else by surprise, or would anyone stop him if you realised what he was doing?
I mean, it depends. I mean, do we all recognise this murmur, or is it because Miguel made a roll there?
I think only he got the thousands of people screaming.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so.
Oh, I rolled for that as well. Sorry, I thought I had heard it. But I got a 2, so it didn't affect me. I think Dean would try to restrain him, seeing the scalpel coming out, thinking that.
Yeah, and
So
Cassidy
he's got
would too.
some
This guy's
kinda-
just saved his life, so yeah.
Yeah. I'm not wanting this medical officer to die because I literally owe my life to them. So I'm
makes
gonna
sense.
grab this nutter and try and pacify them with something from their med bag.
Makes sense. What's Emily doing?
Well, I thought he already died, so I rolled the dice. Because I was not about to go in there anyway, and then seeing somebody just put a scalpel through their eye would have definitely turned me around. So,
So when you say you've rolled a 6, does that mean you're up to 6, or?
no. I rolled the change die, but I'm at 5, and I rolled
You
a
rolled a
1.
1. Yeah.
Because I just figured he already died.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty terrifying anyway, right?
Standing there,
I
just
guess.
about-
This guy just
We're
suddenly.
gonna stab
We're
himself
at a
in the
split
eye,
second before I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I-
at this point,
I
I,
th-
think we've all accepted our fate, kind of.
Yeah.
So.
In fact, I'll make a roll myself, I think. Why am
So I think we should do one last roll to see what happens with that scalpel. So, Miguel, do you want to give? Do you want to roll to stab yourself in the eye?
Yeah, and I'm gonna use an extra dice because it's my speciality.
No!
Because I'm going for the kill. I know exactly what bit of the brain I'm aiming for because I'm a medically trained.
I know, and so
And I think.
yeah, and so I think we've got Dean and
Okay.
Cassidy rolling as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing this right, aren't I? So, ooh, okay. So I think Miguel has got a 5,
No, I only got a 4.
Cassidy's got a 4, and then Dean's got a 3. I got that right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You can re-roll if you want, providing you had your change die. It's up to you.
I daren't. I'm on 5. I could just stop you from killing yourself and then kill myself because I go mad.
I'm going for it.
Chris is
Yeah.
going for it. See him typing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
A 1.
Oh no!
Alright. So I think we should leave it that Dean and Cassidy try and restrain him, but you know what you're doing, Miguel, and you just calmly insert it into your eye.
No! Crap.
And that's the end of Miguel. I escaped the fate worse than death that you guys have to.
You're dead. Stop talking.
I can't talk. Stop talking. You've got no throat. Stop talking.
I'm telepathically
You can talk. I
linked.
can talk.
All right.
Whew. Yeah. I guess we're just kind of standing around over Miguel's body now.
Should that be another change? Because I rolled a 1 in the last one as well. I feel like if I was trying to restrain him and it happened and I was okay with the not going mental, I don't feel like, yeah.
I think that sounds fine to me. So, can I just check in with you? I mean, if we want to leave this at everyone standing over Miguel's body, I'm really happy to do that. But Emily, does Emily want to do anything else here?
I feel like that's a loaded question. I think if we got the sense that the quarry was in a different location, I'd maybe just try and make my way there. But if it's here, I was not a fan of going in, so.
Okay. Asti, I think you would know as a mining engineer that they're likely to have driven the tunnel from essentially inside the living pod. So if you went down to the ground level,
okay,
you would probably find the mining tunnel there. Yeah.
Okay. So clumsily, I'll make my way over to the ladder and climb down if I can with one arm.
Yeah. The bottom level, so as you descend down, the rock is all around you, and the bottom level is almost entirely crystalline with this sort of purple rock glowing all around you. You can see dormitories off to the side, and you can see people lying on them.
Oh, there are people. Or bodies.
When I say people.
I will go and take a closer look, because I'm an idiot.
No, it's great. What's happening to Emily and Dean at the moment?
I'm probably gonna follow because I wanna be in the mine shaft, but I have that email already drafted, so I'm ready.
And I'll be at the tail end seeing that Cassidy went down further. And I just stepped over Miguel's body, so down we go, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right. So Cassidy, yeah, you take a step towards this figure lying on the bed, and of course, what you'll all see is that there's this guy's lying on the bed. He's entirely made of the rock. The body's entirely transformed of rock, and as you approach, you can, hear him breathing. I think you'll all realise now that the wind is essentially lots of people
Them breathing.
Yeah. All breathing at once, and that's the murmur as well. As you take a step towards him, there's just a little crack appears in his body.
Oh. Is anything coming out of it?
No.
Can I see inside? Is it wide enough to see inside?
You getting closer?
Yeah.
And Emily, you will realise what's happening, right? So this is quite a fragile rock in a way. So as he's stepping, he's disturbing the rock, and it's cracking. And so I think as you step closer, Cassidy, the crack sort of runs through, and the guy's shoulder is just going to sort of slide off onto the floor. The shoulder and the whole arm slide off onto the floor, and just shatter into 3 or 4 pieces.
Okay, I'll stop. Is there oxygen in this? Where we are?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I think there's sort of thin oxygen in the living pods, but you're still wearing your suit, so you can breathe.
Yeah. Okay. I just say, why? What do you want? Out loud.
I think if we wanted to, we see there's no way to chisel away at the rock to reveal their form or what used to be their form. Maybe we are able to put them out of their misery in some sense. I don't know if smashing where the head was will actually relieve them of this, or if they just continue to shatter into different pieces and continue to live in suffering.
That's a good point. The figure that's cracked, is it still breathing?
Hard to tell, it's so slow. But you think probably at the moment, yeah.
We could try it, see if any of the vitals from the people in the area change.
Oh, that's a point.
If
Yeah, because we've got that
vitals
thing.
change, maybe we put them out of their misery.
Can I just check in with Dean quickly? What's Dean doing?
Dean's on his laptop, just fucking staring at this, being like, oh, we could follow the breathing, or we could go further into this, but he knows that inevitably that death is on his way. Every time I roll, I keep getting a 4, so...
Lucky you, I've had my 6 ages ago, I'm not playing anymore.
And is this... I'm just making a note for myself. Is this when Dean sort of looks down at his hands using the laptop and just realises the top of his fingertip has just become just turned to rock?
Suppose so.
Yeah, it wasn't really a question, if it's fair.
You won't get a choice, Chris.
So, I call to Emily using the laptop, and say, Emily, I'm turning to stone. I've got whatever Cassidy had. Let's not cut my hand off. See if we can kill these guys. Sorry, let's see if we can let them out of their misery and the vital sign depletes before I'm consumed.
Definitely wouldn't be trained to amputate your hand, and I think I've had enough of seeing amputations, so let's do it. I'll take a tool out and go for the head of this figure that lost their arm already. Not Cassidy, but the other figure that's a rock.
Yeah. And you... What, so you're literally just hitting a chisel into this guy's head, basically?
Yeah, trying to just shatter it.
Yeah. And he breaks completely apart, and maybe Dean on your laptop screen, you see his vitals go to 0. So yeah, you've just killed this guy.
That worked.
I don't know how to feel about
I feel good, and then I feel bad about feeling good about that.
And how many other vitals are in this pod? Like 3?
Yes. Yeah, sort of 3 in this dormitory, and then more signs down the mining tunnel.
By any chance, might Dean be able to look through protocols for self-destruct?
What, for the living pod?
For the living pod?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, give me a roll to find self-destruct protocols. That's a great idea.
Ah, thank God, a happy ending.
Everyone's trying to kill themselves. That's the ending we're hoping for, is death. I'm like, yes, I've won the scenario. I'm dead. Come on.
And so,
It's not working.
have you just rolled a 1? That's,
No,
I mean,
no,
a 1
that
is...
was...
Oh,
That was
okay,
before.
Alright. Oh, well, that's a 6, isn't it? So, yeah, you can locate self-destruct protocols. You think if you did that the asteroid might shatter. So, you know, if you're going to blast a massive hole in the asteroid, then just as you saw with the body, you can imagine sort of fishes running through the asteroid. Hard to tell, though. Might work.
Because I rolled the 6, it doesn't really matter if there's a timer, the entire asteroid might blow up. So I think very quickly, as I'm becoming more rock, I quickly type in, I can blow this rock to smithereens. Would you like me to do it? To the rest of the guys.
Can we set a timer so we can still go down? Curiosity killed the cat, you know.
You can absolutely set a timer, yeah.
But
And Dean, you have access to this, right, on your laptop. You can just set it going.
Okay.
my question would be, can you stop it if we need to? Well, once it's going, it's going.
I don't have much time left.
I mean, what
God's
chance
sake,
do we
Dean,
have
it's
that
not
we
just
have
about you.
But you don't know how to use the laptop. It's not about me, it's about the procedure and how to activate it. I can do it, but we can go towards it, and with my final breath, I'll click the button, and you guys can have 60 seconds and try to deactivate if you want.
I mean, if there was a solution at the end of the tunnel, I don't think these people would be stone. I don't think we're gonna need to deactivate it. But what's the command like? Exclamation, stop.
Nation
Stop
self-destruct.
self-destruct, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to
Can't
make sure in
believe-
case it's a slash or an exclamation mark, you know.
I can't believe that I've done a self-destruct and a tracheotomy.
Self-tracheotomy and a self-destruct, everybody.
It's a successful day, definitely. So what are we doing? So, Dean, for a start, are you setting the self-destruct?
From the guys telling me to wait, I will wait and reluctantly carry on through the tunnel.
Makes sense. And what are you guys doing? Emily, are you still doing your shattering thing?
Yeah, I'm going around just busting everybody's head to give them maybe some relief.
And what's happening with Cassidy at the moment?
I'm curious to get to the end of the tunnel. Maybe there was something down there that triggered this whole thing. Maybe.
So let's move things on a little. So you guys will walk down the tunnel if you want to. I mean, you don't have to, but you guys walk down the tunnel. And Emily, I love the idea of you shattering bodies. So you do find sort of miners. And sometimes just sort of mouths and heads trapped in the rock. And are you going down just shattering them as you get there?
Yep, as much as I can that looks like it would, end their life, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. And then you emerge into something which was a quarry, but now seems to be a cavern. So, and you can see this sort of vast space made of this glowing rock, and there's mining equipment. So Cassidy, you'd recognise all this, right? But there's trucks, there's there's sort of mining wagons and to take things to the surface, and it's all turned to this crystalline rock. And then there's people who have sitting down, lying down, who are also all made of this crystalline rock.
Anything at the center of the quarry, the cavern? If I make way.
You can walk across it. I mean, there are officers, there are records of the cavern, but what you see is pretty much what you're going to get.
Okay. Yeah. I think at this point, the final realization that it is hopeless. There's nothing that we can do. If it's equal to, it doesn't go up, does it?
No.
Can
I just interrupt with one thing? So I think
Sure.
that as you're sort of looking around at this fairly bleak scene, Emily, are you still shattering people?
Yep.
You will see one of those cracks this time run across the ceiling of the cavern. One of those little fissures.
So there's a fissure. I can hit it. Maybe we want to start that self-destruct timer though, because if this just collapses on us,
Yeah.
we're dead anyway. So maybe a good little kumbaya, and then we smash it after starting the self-destruct timer.
So you want to quickly sing one of our nursery rhymes from school as we reminisce our childhood together. Activate the timer, and then we'll hit this fissure. Yeah, is that what I'm getting from that?
Yeah. I'll start us off. Kumbaya.
Yeah, that's good. And you do sing. And just so I have this in my head, are you planning to run out of this cavern, or are you planning to bury yourselves in this cavern?
I'm gonna hit the fissure, so if it is a cave-in, it's a cave-in.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, I don't think there's any point running anywhere if the whole thing's going to self-destruct anyway.
Makes sense.
So I guess we just sat in a circle. And no, 'cause you're gonna go and break stuff, right? You're gonna go and does he have to climb up to the fissure to go and hit it with something? Is that your plan?
Yeah, I'm just gonna smack where it's at. It might take
Imparts
a wax.
You're a geologist. You would know where to hit to make this fissure worse if you deliberately wanted to make it worse. So can I just check in with each of you? Just if we're going to leave this on this very bleak, you're going to bury yourself in a cavern. So can we just Cassidy first? Just give me a last moment of Cassidy.
I think he's...
Actually, no, sorry. Let me start with Emily if you're going to bash the... Sorry
yeah,
about
sure.
this. But
No
yeah,
problem.
because then we'll have the destruction happening. So, Emily, can we just start with you? What happens with Emily?
I think the kind of final thoughts, final moments would be we gave it a shot. It would have been better had it not worked out like this and had this not been a suicide mission, but I think I found people who I've gotten some value from and sense of value from, so I don't feel like I'm ending my life alone, and I feel like what I did here is hopefully helpful for others that maybe, suffered for decades, and pray that they don't send another team down to restart this futile kind of mission.
Beautiful. It's lovely to leave things on a positive
She's really
note, isn't
reaching
it?
to try and make it a happy ending, isn't she?
And then does Emily hit the fissure? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And at that, a whole web of fissures will start broadcasting across the cavern, and chunks of this rock will start to fall and shatter. Give me a last bit of Dean.
Dean has been documenting all of this in an email, which has replied to all for the entire of the company. He doesn't want our deaths to go unwarranted. He's documented the medical efforts of Miguel, the geological prowess of Emily, and reluctantly he's shown the ingenuity of the mining engineer, and he's advised that they send no one else here, but in a final last effort I have started a self-destruct for the pods to destroy the rest of the meteor and free everyone from their eternal slowness.
It's beautiful. And Cassidy, last bit of Cassidy.
Okay. Because we wanted to end on a positive note, we're not going to end on a positive note. Cassidy's been sat there. He's been tapping away on his little computer, using his mining engineering skills. And it comes to the realization that we're about to blow this asteroid into tiny little fragments, which are then going to spread all across the universe. And as he gets that realization, he just kind of slumps down and sinks his head down, and then there's a blinding white light.
Yeah. That's the timing, isn't it? That Cassidy kind of goes,
yeah.
Oh, and then, yeah. And then at that moment, the self-destruct goes off. The cavern blows apart, blows into space. And And if you imagine pulling back, and we can see the whole asteroid, and the fissures go through that, and like shattering a glass, the whole asteroid bursts in these lots of tiny asteroids, which just float off into the farther courses of space.
You see like Earth in the background.
Oh, yeah.
I just realised.
That's the game. Thank you so much.
Oh, that was great. Thank you very much for that. That was bleak.
That was superb. So bleak.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh.
It hasn't quite gone that bleak before at the end, so
really?
yeah, well done.
Not trying to
Follow
kill
me for
myself
fun
in many
if you don't
RPGs. Like, it's not something I do often.
No,
That
that
was
was
fun.
great.
Wow.
Thank you, everyone. That was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
job, Graham.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Graham.
thank you
It was
very
a
much.
really good one.
Absolute
You guys
pleasure
were
to
really
meet you.
great to play with. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
You guys
I
are
think we
always
kind
great to
of
play
reined
with.
some of our personalities in a little bit too. You didn't get any like shaft jokes or
Yeah.
any.
See if you get us being serious, Graham, you know you're good, because we just running away with
God bless
serious
you.
jokes normally, like.
No, normally you say one word and we get stuck on it for the entirety
Yeah.
of the game.
Oh my
so
God.
You said shaft and we didn't obsess over it like kids. We must be
Nice.
taking you, if we're taking you seriously. It's a big thumbs up from this crew, like. Yeah,
Damn
bravo,
straight.
I
guys,
really
bravo.
enjoyed that. That was yeah, that was absolutely lovely. I do like it when it goes bleak. I hadn't realized. I was tempted just to leave it with you just like going around shattering bodies, because that was horrible.
So,
Like a
I rolled
whack-a-mole.
another change and I was like, what if I just go insane like with this last realization that we die, and then it's like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah,
Never
whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole.
It was the same with me. Like I was like, oh, I'm bound to go mental looking at these fucking bodies getting
kept rolling
smashed. But
force.
no, I was alright with it. It's
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
fine.
Ah,
Just
I-
one,
yeah.
it
It's
was
like,
cool.
oh,
You deserved
their,
it.
their life signs have disappeared. It's fine.
Second nature, you know.
That's great.
Your lifetimes have disappeared. Yay! That's what we wanted. Success.
Yeah. It was pretty much like, well, they're at peace. Let's
Hmm.
move on
Yeah.
with the next 30 seconds of our life.
Well, I'll do a little ender for the video, and then we can just chat after. So, viewers, that was Cosmic Dark Extraction with the one and only Graham Walmsley. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time for the next one.